Yeah. Canton Hall of Shame. CPS came and tore families apart. But not today. Victims, it's time. In the middle of the night, say it's for the best. Twist the words, build a case, fabricate the rest. Paperwork, lies while your babies cry. Put them through the test. Cannon Hall of Shame, put your name on the wall. Every broken home, every shattered call. Hiding behind protected serve, but we know the truth. You destroy more lives than the damage you remove.
How many families torn? How many hearts destroyed? How many children lost in a system you employ?
Take the step, stand the fuck up. CPS Punisher coming, time to settle the score. Take the step, stand the fuck up. Cannon Hall of Shame, we're kicking down the door. No more silence, no more fear, no more days. Victims rise together, break the system, feel the pain. Take the step, stand the fuck up right now. Right now. Yeah, they say the children, but the numbers don't lie. Kids lost in the system, some of them die. Foster homes turn to nightmares, rights get denied while the workers get paid and the families divide. Cannon Hall of Shame, your secrets coming out. Every false report, every twisted route. We see the corruption, we feel the rage. This is our moment, turn the fucking page.
How many mothers crying? How many fathers broken? How many children silenced by the words
Unspoken. Take the step, stand the fuck up. CPS Punisher coming, time to settle the score. Take the step, stand the fuck up. Cannon Hall of Shame, we're kicking down the door. No more silence, no more fear, no more change. Victims rise together, break the system, feel the pain. Take the step, stand the fuck up right now. This is for every parent who lost their light, every kid who screamed into the night. We see you, we hear you, no more hiding in the shadows. Burn it down with truth, let the whole world know. Take the step. In the shadows of the system, voices rise as one. The CPS Punisher calls. The fight has just begun. Hey, hey, hey. Tiffany Wise stands tall with truth in every word. Justin Hartley, Justin nicely exposing what we've heard. Jay Limo, Canton Hall of Shame, shining light so bright. Becca Garrison, Danielle Wall, turning wrong to right. Gunnar Evers, Jessica Saxton, speaking loud and clear. Louis Ewing, Vincent Davis, silencing the fear. Renee Powers, tolling roll. Henry Mark, Tokyo strong. Connie regularly leads the way where families belong. We are the voice, we are the fight. United we stand tall. CPS corruption crumbles when we answer freedom's call. From the RFN network to Sam Mosley and more. Justice at the door. Join together the nation. The message rings so true. The CPS Punisher and friends are standing here for you. CPS corruption crumbles when we answer freedom's call. From the RFN network to Sam Mosley and more. Podcast war is rising. Justice at the door. Join together, hand in hand. In truth we find our power. The Punisher and friends ignite the flame this hour. Woo, woo, woo. One by one, then all as one, the hall of shame will fall. Hearts of courage, minds of steel, we answer freedom's call. No division, only truth. In unity we thrive. For every family, every child, we keep the dream alive. We are the voice, we are the fight. United we stand tall. CPS corruption crumbles when we answer freedom's call. The CPS Punisher and friends, a force that will endure. Together in this battle, our message pure and sure. Join together in song and truth. The fight goes on for justice, for you.
What's up, everybody? We're doing this live. It's the CPS Punisher and friends. Of course, I got to get my bestest friend out here with me right now to start this thing off with. Let's bring out Tiff. And it's an early Saturday night broadcast. What's up, Tiff?
Hey, what's going on?
We got some good stuff tonight. But first, before that, we should put our condolences out there to the Vincent Davis family for the loss of Bob Pace. He's been a martyr here for a while now, and it's sad to say that Bob Pace did pass away. We looked all through the stuff last night to make sure, but it was true that he did pass away. So our condolences to them. Bob was a good guy. He actually came to Vincent Davis after I had left Vincent Davis, and he's been there ever since. So as long as I've been at it here, he's been at it 2-3 times a day. So it's crazy that he's gone, but he is. So unfortunately, that's that. But we've got some other stuff. I don't mean to make any sort of light on this, but I know that there's some anxious fellows back here with us. We got Jay Limo with us. I don't know where Justin went to. Jay, where you at, brother? Becca's here with us too, so we can bring Becca out. And we're gonna drop some stuff right now, guys, that I got a hold of just a little while ago. Oh, here comes Justin. Justin's in here too. There he is. And there we go. There's Justin. Guys, I just got this recording. I know it's out on Facebook, but we kind of got trivied to it first. Let me get it up here. I probably should have made sure I had that right before I went and did this. I was so excited about it that I needed to probably should have saved it where it was.
While you do that, Darren, Becca, can you get in touch with Joshua Nelson so he can book an episode with us, please? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Appreciate
I
it.
have a couple more people also that have been contacting me on Facebook as well, wanting to get on a podcast. So I kind of sent it to Darren, but I guess I can kind of take that role over from now on if he wants me to.
Please.
Yeah, you can do that. Absolutely, you can do that. All right, let me pull open this here. All right, guys, this is where it's gonna be found somewhere here.
Touch the hill.
All right, here it is. I got it, guys. Are you ready for this? Now, this is, don't we all say this, right? This is what we all say, is that pay attention to who you're giving your money to, right? Because this right here is about ready to ruin an advocate, and we never do this. But pay close attention, guys, because here you go. This is actually pretty sick.
Yes, I'm sorry. I have to do this.
Does everybody notice that?
I can't allow him to just continue on. So I know this isn't your style to tear people down, and I'm sorry. I hope you forgive me.
Come on. Okay, so this was on his phone. You know, this is a guy, for one. A dude that is a tranny. And I found him on TikTok. But these are messages that they sent back and forth. And Tanela says, okay, he says, I don't have any party favors. I said all of that in the messages on FetLife. But if I did only do clear, it's clear like for,
That's probably methamphetamines. For sure, methamphetamines. No, cocaine's white. What else would be clear?
I don't know because I've never even seen one.
Crack is like tooth colored.
Talking about meth, obviously.
Yeah, that's probably.
How do you know it's not like a friggin' like sex lube?
Because that would be a party favor. That would be a party pool or some shit. I imagine. It's FetLife though, and there's a lot of drugs on FetLife.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he had 2 accounts on FetLife. One of them was Mr. Litigator.
Mr. Litigator?
Mr. Litigator on FetLife.
What's the other one?
It was I forgot. I have a picture of it.
Why don't you expose this? Is it because you're too nice? Is that why? Because you always let these people get away with it because you just don't. You're just so perfect. I mean, I don't mind destroying these demons, these monsters, and he's using people.
Here's the thing. At the time, I didn't know, and then I found this stuff, and he was whining like just I was just doing this, and so I just whatever I ignored it. But then like I got a call from a group in freaking Kentucky that said, you know, did you get the $10,000? No. And they said that they sent $10,000 for the benefit of Justice Without Limits. We confirmed it right after I left, but she said that she put a note on the cash app or whatever app that they used. It was supposed to go to Jessica and JWL.
Is that $10,000 you're talking about that they offered you? That you
Yes. He called, okay, so he called me. He's like, I have an anonymous donor, and this lady said that she wanted to donate it, she wanted it donated anonymously. He called me right after I left. He was like, you get a $10,000 anonymous donation. So I haven't seen one penny of that. And she confirmed that it was sent.
Would you, just in case something happens to you, would you send me this? Would you send me these messages, please? Please. Just in case something happens to you.
Yes.
You would do that?
Yeah.
Can I expose him? Can I expose him? Well, yeah,
okay, so I want families to know that they're not, like, he's sent me all of his I finally sent me his Cash App statements, but I'm finding adult stores, $100 spent on liquor, him sending money to known prostitutes, people that he, or at least one person said was a professional.
And you got proof of this?
Yes, he sent it to me.
So, why haven't you exposed him?
I didn't want to cause a division between all of these advocates in this movement. And it wasn't until I felt like he wasn't being honest with me about his finances that I was just like, I'm done. If you can't be honest with me, then to someone else. Money that was sent to women.
Do you have record of these women?
Yes. But it's like, I mean, one of them was $23. And they weren't traveling together. This is the thing. Like, they were not traveling together. And he admitted to me that one of these women, they did drugs together. And so it's almost like he was paying her.
The white stuff. Clear stuff.
But the clear stuff was with Trini.
So he's doing drugs.
Yeah, you definitely got a cat.
He admits that they did drugs. I've never seen him do drugs.
I was wondering where he can get the camera in his eyes, Oliver. I just thought he was like, I don't know, mafia or something.
Well, here's the thing. I first saw him act like that when we worked together. But after we separated and this video was like, I noticed, like, why is he blinking so much? What the heck is going on?
Yeah, but when my buddy showed me when we charged Jess and G, when they're doing stuff, and I saw it, and I was like, I can't believe in his mission at all. I had agreed to serve the county affidavit because to me it looked like he built a class action lawsuit. I don't want my piece tied up in that because of my specific case. This is a little, But so wait, can I expose him? Can I? I mean,
Okay, I don't want you to attack. The side of this issue is, I know because for one, I've seen it, and now I have proof that he's asking for donations while simultaneously going and spending this donation money on drugs. And there's one girl in there that he admitted to use a professional prostitute, and there's multiple things with her name on her. He sent money to her. I'm like, what the heck? And then, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to spend money on this thing. I said, fine. At least be honest about it to the people who are doing money to you. Because these freaking families are freaking dying. And every single penny that they think is going back because that's what he says. But it's not true. But I don't know how to and still keep peace between, like, the movement. Another thing is that I'm freaking scared of him. I'm scared that
with me here, I don't think you have to worry about that.
Well, I'll tell you, that's another reason why I haven't gone public with this stuff, is because I'm scared of the retaliation and what he may do. And so
will you hate me if I just? No. I will. You're the captain, you know. I believe in you. I believe in you. But we have to somehow stop him from giving this money. It's not fair to that. I know you're afraid of him, but I mean, just think about it, and you know, I'm here. I believe in you, Jess. I believe in your heart. I see that you're just a mom that's willing to do anything and everything to help my children. All of our children. So, I mean, you're the captain, but no, we expose monsters. You know, that's what I am. So, let's just do a lot.
If I can find, if I think about it, I can find a way to let the families know that this is who he is. I spent a year of my life on the road with him. He had me completely fooled.
Well, you're innocent. Your heart's way bigger than anything.
Well, and that's when I was like, can you just share, you know, all the donations and all this stuff with me? And at the time, he wouldn't. He shared it last week because he was still trying to draw me back in.
You put everything in there? I want to liberate. If something happens to you, I want to make sure that you are liberated. You're not T. I saw that from the beginning, but I've always had a problem with T. he cannot do what he wants to do. Well, from what I've seen, from what you showed me, it looks like his ending was just the tour.
He told me when I left, he freaking said to me, he sent me a message and said, "You're stealing my dream." And I'm like, what the hell?
I saw that.
No, I was like, what the hell are you saying? I'm stealing your dream. This isn't a freaking dream. This is a freaking nightmare. Our children can't see us and vice versa, and you think this is a dream?
You know, I noticed when you showed me that he never once mentioned children at all. One time.
He said on one of his lives that he doesn't have children, and I know for a fact that one of his daughters has reached out to him multiple times, and she actually sent me a final text message just a few months ago, and she was like, I'm done with my dad. He won't reach back out to me every time I message him. No, I can show you the message. And it just fucking breaks my heart. And then he gets on there, and that girl, she watches him. Like, I see her on his wanting a relationship with her dad, and he freaking stonewalls her.
Do you think he's the one that is charging these people? I've been with long enough. I know that you are not charging anything. I know we're here eating one meal a day. We're starving. We're working 24 hours a day, and I know I've been around long enough to see that that's not you. So, do you think he's going behind that? I mean,
I don't know. I can't say everything that I say, everything I've told you, I can prove with text messages and images, pictures. I don't know about
it has to be all in that man's bitch.
I don't know about that. I mean, I honestly can't say that he's charged on those scam accounts. I don't know. But I do know that when I picked him up, according to statements, to the time statements that he just said, that he gave me last week, he said that he didn't have any money, but he had $5,000 and $6,000 in donations in December of 2024 and January of 2025, stating that he couldn't go anywhere. I'm like, that is a full-time, that's a full-time income, especially for someone that's you're by yourself. You don't have anybody else to feed. That was when he was sending money to all of these women and buying drugs, and that's where the donation money was going.
I can't believe I consoled him when you guys split up. If I would have known that this is why you rolled out, no way. There's no way I would have ever gave that guy any tenderness at all.
Dude, I spent my last $10,000 on his freaking mission because he had me believing that he was an honorable, trustworthy person.
I wonder if this falls under fraud in one way or another.
Yes. It's freaking fraudulent.
Well, to the families, but legally.
If you are soliciting families to donate to you and you're saying that all...
No, I'm talking about because you guys have joint accounts, you know.
I didn't have a joint account.
So what...
That's why I couldn't see all the donations.
So he was in control of everything?
For the most part, yes. Now, he would say that Jess is in control of the money, but he would just give me the cash donations, which were few and far between, except for Miss Phillips out of Texas. She did give us a $2,000 donation, and I kept telling him, and that was the largest donation that I ever saw in the 12 months that I was traveling with him. But I kept telling him, dude, you can't get on your freaking lives and tell people that you only get $5, $20, maybe sometimes a $50 donation. You can't do that because there are people out there that give a lot more. And you're diminishing the gift that those people are giving to you. You need to be honest with people. Just be honest. And that's what drove me nuts.
You're way too nice. Way too honest and transparent. I don't mind it. I'll be the bad guy.
Oh, listen.
He can come after me. I mean, try it.
No, I'm just telling you this because I don't want these families to help, because I don't want these families to keep giving money to someone that is going to go into them on drugs or adult adult freaking.
Is he even in DC?
I don't know.
Has anybody seen him in DC? I've never seen him. I see him in restaurants and Starbucks and stuff. $8 cup of coffee.
But he was in DC. I was in DC with. I know he was in DC. I don't know where he's at now.
Oh, sorry. Does that put you through hell? You know, on and off, you know, on and off. And I'm in
I'm
it.
trying to tell you, I'm not a fucking freak.
Well, that's what it. You were with T. You were with T. And he held on for how long after? He's still holding on. He's still holding on. We gotta shed this dead weight, man. This guy's gotta go away. He's gotta go away. He's fragile.
Okay, so I can make a video. I'll make a video that is.
No, you're not one that you don't people.
I'm not gonna shit on him. I'll just. But these families, they have to know. And I don't know how to say it without it causing a bunch of division. But they have to know something.
I'll make a video.
No, don't.
I'll make a video. I'll do it.
No, it's not. Because.
How about I do it as a separate party?
No.
We'll make a song, put it on the internet.
Be careful how we approach it.
I definitely hear a song coming.
Yes, and we'll put it on the internet.
Oh,
That's all.
thank you.
I'll just let me think about it.
Thank you for being here, Jess.
That's
I'm so happy I didn't give up everything I got, and that like, I didn't give up everything I got to follow T-Dog on.
I am not. Jeez.
Yeah, for Matt, he's pretty fat.
He's lost a lot of weight since I left him. A lot of weight. And that's when I started noticing.
Does he even have
his eyes.
teeth?
No.
He doesn't have teeth?
No.
Those are fake teeth.
He has his bottom teeth, but he has no top teeth. Is that
why he never smiles and shit?
Is that
Absolutely.
really?
And you can eat meth, you can smoke meth, you can shoot meth. Did you ever see tracks or anything on him?
No, I don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything
You're
about
so
it.
innocent. You're so innocent.
I don't know what to look for.
Thank you. Because a lot of people believe in you. They believe in you so much, just as I do, just as Lester does. Thank you. Let's go.
It's all gone.
Let's go save some kids up.
It's all gone.
Praise God. Glory be to God. God. You got rid of $10.
It's true. I can afford that.
You're the most magnificent person I've ever seen. I gotta do it.
That was a lot to take in.
Oh my.
I knew it. Knew it. Mm-mm-mm. So what now?
We make a song and we put it on the internet.
About him having no teeth and smoking meth?
Yeah, that could be in the song too. Do what Afro Man did.
So this guy literally just
The
stole
fact,
$10,000. Oh my God.
the fact that, forget about the drugs, forget about that stuff. The fact that he's spending the money on drugs,
Mhm.
that he's buying prostitutes with what people are giving money for to help his cause. That's where all of the troubles lie here. Not his drug. That's his own private. Everybody's got skeletons in their closet. You know, the fact that he's taken thousands and thousands of dollars and using it for his own personal pleasures, apparently,
What the fuck do I got going on here?
is
That one
ridiculous.
was playing too.
You know,
And-
it's just-
All right, guys, I had 2 videos playing. I had this echo going on.
And Darren's house burned down and can't even get $500. Like,
right? I lose everything, and we barely get anybody to send any money. But whatever, neither here nor there. But that's the truth. So what do we do now? Where does this go?
Well, first of all,
Bible.
I don't think anybody's going to blame Jessica because everybody knew. We all were telling her how he was.
mhm.
People have to make up their own minds. And sometimes, what's the saying? You got to fuck around and find out.
Yep.
The problem I have, I don't give a fuck about the drugs either because
Yeah.
It is what it is. My problem is if you're paying for prostitutes, you're trafficking women, and 99% of women today have children. So if you're trafficking them, are you fucking with the kids too?
Oh, facts.
If blowing that into perspective for everybody, you're gonna blow people's minds here today.
You know, nobody really
Just
knows what
saying.
goes on behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's part of a movement. He's part of a movement
Mm-hmm.
that's
Well, we
majority.
just talked about this, Darren.
That's
We just talked
majority.
about this.
Yeah, that and this women, and he's paying for sex. Like, what does that say? Right? Like, what does that say? Loads, like Tiff says, that's trafficking. So how the hell are
Mm-hmm.
you piece of a movement and you're going to be trafficking women just yourself? How are you going to be doing that?
Right.
And Jessica, if you're listening, honey, run to the nearest free clinic, get every fucking test done that you can.
That's right.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
But Darren and I, me and Darren and Tiff just talked about this, about the fact that, people were getting, why we were trying to figure out why people, like, when they were wanting to send donations, like, we don't ask for money. So when we were talking about this and we were like, have people been getting burned? Well, I guess that answered that question.
Right. There it is. Facts right there. Yes,
And
please.
with a woman like Jessica, what are you doing with a fucking prostitute anyway?
Right?
Well,
Why would you
So,
need a prostitute when you got her? I don't get that.
yeah, there is that.
I mean, that makes no sense to me. It's not like she's not attractive. She's beautiful. Why would you want just to do it? Just to be able to blow money and say you got the money to do it? Like, what is wrong with this
You
guy?
said blow money.
Wait, were they more than business partners? I thought they
I
were
think
Yeah, they
like
were a
business
thing, I
partners.
thought.
they were a item. Yeah, at one point. I do believe that they were an item at one point. So yeah, I mean that's just it's just kind of like speechless. But there's a lot of people out there that already had their hunches about him, that already had their speculations. But now, when you get stuff like this, it has to come out because you need to know where some of these people that are spending their money, it's their last dollars. That's what hope. All they have is hope
Mm-hmm.
and that money in their wallet, and they think that if they can put that money where their mouth is or where their mouth is, that they're going to get some sort of a result. And now knowing this, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's another kink in the
You know,
armor of this movement.
and to add to that a little bit, she's are all over the country. They're driving the wheels off their cars. They're driving the brakes off their cars. They're posting online that they need money for their brakes. They need money for their tires. Meanwhile, he's out there, probably spending $200 a night on bullshit and prostitutes. What the fuck's going on there?
Mm-hmm.
Priorities, I mean, how much money do you think he really spent? I mean, they just got an idea of what he might have spent. It's
They
probably
don't know the whole lengths to it. Yeah.
it's probably double or triple what they even think it is.
Right.
That's just what she knows of.
She probably only happened to look at this stuff after they parted ways, and then to see these things, like she was probably in control and he didn't ever let her see what the money was or whatever. And once they split out,
I don't think she's complicit in the scam. I think that she was blinded by his bullshit because
he's
somebody
a good
commented.
talker.
right. He's a smooth dude, man. He's a smooth
Yeah.
dude.
So
He's a
can the
smooth talker. He really
JWL
is.
file charges and have those financial records brought in, subpoenaed?
Especially through, I think she said Cash App.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So if they
and
go
they
through
give you a
criminal
detailed
court,
thing.
filing charges against Tanawal, as a JWL organization charging Tanawal, can they subpoena that Cash App record?
Yeah, I mean they can't. They should be able to. I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean that's part of the evidence that would corroborate his
Here's the next question: Are they legit? Is JWL or whatever it is, Justice Without Limits, a legit partnership?
501(c)(3).
Is it a legit organization? Does anybody even know that?
You should be able to look that up.
I'm sure. Let's look
You
at
know
that
what
right now.
though? You know know what though? The cash apps are only going to show the things that they've brought in. It's not going to show where any of the money went. What's going to have to do is they're going to have to show all their fuel costs, their hotel stays, their food costs. They're going to have to add that all, and then you're going to be off by so much because you can't put all that together.
Well, I don't think all of that's declarable. Look, when people donate, they donate at their own discretion. So what people do with that money too is you hope that it's the right thing. It's like this American Red Cross, for every $1 that you donate, 10 cents goes to the cause. The other 90% goes to administrative fees and stuff. So
yeah, but if they're claiming to be a 501 whatever,
I don't know.
That's money embezzlement. That's embezzling money.
Mm-hmm. If that's what they are,
that's criminal.
In any other business or company or any type of LLC where you have control of finances and you spend them on personal gains, that's exactly what that is.
That's a Francesca Amato situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's embezzlement. The problem with that was her Cash App linked to his too, because they're going to look at hers too.
Well, I don't think so, because she even said in there that she had no knowing of how much money he had. Like, he was always telling her he was broke, and she wasn't. You know what I mean? So I don't think that she could have even known.
She's out there begging for tires and brakes and all this shit, getting ridiculed by people, and he's over there just blowing up, doing what the hell ever he's doing with stuff.
Just say it. He was over there fucking the prostitutes. Just say it, Darren.
Just say it.
All right, fucking prostitutes. That's what. That's why, Dave. I did not want you. That's why I had to turn down the Airstream.
Painted.
So, if you look at the profiles of both these men,
which one?
They're
Which
one
one?
and the same. Their names are just different.
Between who? I'm confused, Tiff. You just lost me.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Just think about it, because I don't want no more bullshit out of that motherfucker either. I'm telling you.
Oh, well. Okay, yep. I know you're talking about. Never mind.
I knew you would. But this is the thing. Rotten apples in a whole barrel. 2 rotten apples can spoil the whole bunch.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what these people are doing, and Darren and Becca, you know too, because you're on our shows, we tell people all the time. First of all, be careful who you follow. Be careful what information you take in. Be careful giving people money. I don't charge a fucking dime. And I've been in this 37 years. I'm so broke I can't pay attention, but I still help people.
Right.
Stop giving people your whole case. Stop sending people money. I tell my people, you save whatever money you have, because if I can't help you and I can't find somebody else to help you, you're going to have to hire an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people ask me all the time about donations, and I'm like, if you are insistent on it, here's what you can do, but that's about it. I mean, I'm not like, I don't ask for money. Sitting over here, 400,000 views in the last 2 weeks. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, that information is getting out. All this information is getting out. And people are starting to be a little bit more leery, I've come to find, because most people would literally like just send me everything, and they give me their they tell me the whole story. And now it's kind of like, I'm a little, they become vague, I guess I should say. But I still have people every day reaching out every day. Help.
And I'm going to say this again. There's only 2 people with CPS I'm talking about, because if I had to say child support too, there's only 3 people that have been doing this as long or longer than me. If any 3 of us had the magic bullet, we would have already given it to you.
Mm-hmm.
There wouldn't even be podcasts about it, because one of the 3 of us would have been hit one of you all up and been like, hey, this is what you do. Hey, this is how you do that. Da 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 da. There's no magic bullet. And if anybody's guaranteeing you anything and promising you anything, and that goes for an attorney too, get rid of them. They're lying.
I literally
Yep.
posted about what a good attorney who's actually going to work for you looks like versus what a attorney that's actually just working for the court and to get a paycheck from it. I posted one
Just
on
Google
Facebook. Like,
Patrick McGraw. Just Google Patrick McGraw. That is the lawyer that really
mm-hmm,
fights CPS. Okay,
yep,
the only one I fuck with here in Virginia.
mm-hmm, and they're far and few in between. That's for
Yes,
sure.
they are.
What's up, Louie and Susie? They're watching us. They're there.
Hey guys, and
Yeah, this
and I
is
don't want anybody to be harsh on Jessica. I really don't, because her heart really is in a good place. And I gotta say this because I'm blonde too, but mine comes out of a bottle. We have our moments, okay? So just know that she woke up and she's
And
not
sometimes
with
it takes
him.
people a while. I mean, realistically, I mean, she's under this spell. I mean, essentially, I mean, narcissists do that. They literally they will disguise it and they will not share it. And it will be, it's a show essentially for them. So, I mean, for her, she could have seen maybe the warning signs, but until she puts it all together, that's on her. She has to make that decision. And now she's finally
She
done it and
did.
she put it all together.
Yes, she did, and I'm proud of her.
But it's taken a while, but that's to be expected. I mean, because you don't want to believe anything bad about the person, you're essentially with. So give her a break. Like,
Well, not only that, they have to look at if people's ever heard of the battered women syndrome.
mm-hmm, that too.
That's a true syndrome. Okay.
Yes.
She was
Stockholm.
right. She was in an abusive relationship. She probably didn't know because he wasn't like beating her ass, but he was mind controlling her. So it's hard to get out of an emotional, and I don't know, it's just hard to wrap your mind around, right?
Yeah, how
So I
somebody
want
can
people to
manipulate somebody that much.
right. But it's very easy with people who, and I hope she doesn't take this the wrong way, that have been in vulnerable spots and don't know how to pull themselves out of it in time before they hook up with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
But that's all
100%.
I got to say about it. I
I'll
just
tell you
hope
what,
everybody.
I like this dude. I like that dude that did the video for her. I got to get his name right here. He's a good dude, and I see that he does some exposing of corruption and stuff.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we need him.
Yeah, we need. So I got him over here on. What the hell's his name here?
I've seen some of his videos before. I saw that logo and I was like, I've seen his videos
Johnny
before.
Wicks. Johnny
Yeah,
Wicks.
Johnny Wicks, yes.
So yeah, Johnny Wicks, you hear us? Please, man.
I wonder, did she reach out to him or did he reach out to her or what?
I don't know how that went down.
It just went down.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're done talking about Tanawa Downing, can we figure out what's going on with these other two guys? Because I think me and Becca like took over the whole show. Go ahead.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
right. Yep. Fuck around and find out. That's right. That's my motto.
Well, I'll just add to the Tanawa bullshit there for a second here. I believe in a long way here, in a nutshell, she's suffering big time from Stockholm syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he had her right where he wanted her. She was
Mm-hmm.
like the show, the pretty girl everybody's going to listen to, and
He was the face and he was the mastermind.
right. So I mean,
sexual trauma bond.
It could
And
be
now-
that she was a victim in all this too, but you
Yeah,
got
but now let's see how much power this gives her, because now she can completely be broken away free, and let's see what she can really do with this movement and move it in the right direction. Like,
Well, I believe-
stop all the bullshit. Everybody needs to stop the bullshit with the her and Tanawa and all that. Let that be the past, and let her move forward, and let her, because let's get it. She's got the following. She's got the people. People love her. And that goes back.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question. Like, what would be some positive ways that she could rebuild from this? And maybe do something more than what she has been doing.
That's the challenge, Justin. That's the part that she's going to have to conquer. Because if she wants the people to really believe that she's not complicit in what the hell he was doing in any kind of way, then she's going to have to move forward from this and push as hard as she can for what's right for the people, and not try to be selfish in any kind of way in it.
I believe that us advocates should just, essentially stand by her side. I mean, essentially, because people that do know us here, and you guys, they know us, so they hopefully they trust our word rather than anything else. I mean, as long as we stand by her as as one and unite, then I don't see why she'd even lose. Maybe she might lose what, a third of people, but she still reached how many people by this?
I mean, yeah, which is kind of amazing to me because, I mean, and I understand you're doing it in every county and every city, big city across America, but the speech you're giving out is the exact same message to every single person and every one of her videos is the same thing. I bet half the country's got that one little speech memorized.
I do.
And, there's more to it than just what she's saying there. And some of
Mhm.
that really doesn't make a lot of sense when you look up certain things she's talking about, like Rule 17 or 20, and what an emolument violation really is, it just doesn't fit the criteria of anybody's case that I know of.
Right, and there's been people that have pointed that out to her, but there have been people, and I believe that she is changing her speech. Like we all know, Lewis Ewing. We had the thing here. We had the Friday night fights with him, and I'm sure she's absorbed that information, and I'm sure that from this point forward, where she's not having Tanoa over her shoulder and watching her and seeing what she's doing, and and doing all that, I'm sure that she will make those corrections and she won't do those things. That's what I would like to think, or that's what I would like to assume that she would do. Like know that she's wrong in these things.
So
Well,
Dave said devil's advocate. How do you know she didn't say this or take it all over?
Yeah,
Well,
you got to kind of.
that's a good point too, and we don't really know. I mean, that's a leap of faith that the rest of us are going to either have to take, or we're going to, we're just going to have to read the situation from here on out. We're not going to be able to just know right away whether or not she's any, like I said, any type of complicit in the matter or not. We're just going to have to watch what happens from here. If she's all by herself now, then we're going to have to see what she does. I mean, if the bullshit continues, then she's been part of it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, realistically, if she can prove that she didn't know, I mean, I'm all about proof. It's all in the, you got the paper trail to show it. I mean, that would prove it to me. But I mean, as far as like,
But not so much the
you know,
paper trail. Is this a ploy? Is this a ploy that she put out there to separate herself from this situation to make those believe that this is not, she wasn't a part of this? Is that what this message was? Is I think more
I,
or less what the question is.
I, I truly think that she was afraid of him. I
Mm-hmm.
do. I truly do. But let's flip this for a minute. If she truly is away from him, then we should have some kind of meeting with her
mm-hmm,
and train her the correct way.
mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
which is what Darren and I had talked about doing training videos,
Right.
like Cyrus did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am going to tell you now, I don't know about all that shit she was mumbling in these town hall meetings, but I can tell you what works. When you go to town hall with your receipts, like my little protege Claire did, and you
Mm-hmm.
start calling these people out in town hall meetings, I'm telling you, 15 to 20 of these motherfuckers on her case have left. Okay. Now that works,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know about that other stuff that she was talking, because I don't know
Yeah,
if it works. I can't say it does. I can't say it doesn't, but I can tell you what is working. And I
they
tell
don't
people
like an
all
army.
the time, go to town hall, whatever y'all call it there, and put your little name on the little 3-minute thing. Go every week. Get your story out there, because that's how a CPS in Virginia got shut down, because the sheriff, it started catching his attention. He went to the sheriff. The sheriff went to the prosecutor and was like, hey, something's not right. 167 children were returned overnight because they closed the CPS department down
Mm-hmm.
in Nelson County, Virginia. Yes.
You'd
Yeah, I
almost
know.
think that would start a chain reaction once people found out about that. But I bet that's one of those things that went through a small little media press type thing and was completely covered up and not talked about ever again. So,
Mm-hmm.
Until the sheriff heard it. Then he started hearing more and more parents coming out. Then he went to the prosecutor and was like, hey, there's something going on. They investigated them for a whole year. When they ran in there and shut that place down, all 167 children were returned to their parents.
As it should be.
Right. So
Right.
going to town hall, yes, go speak about your case. Get as many people as you can, and you all talk about it, right? Because once they know that there's a crime being committed, they should be looking into it.
Mhm.
But
And
I
if
don't
they're
know.
not, then they're just complicit, and that's
Right.
essentially what Jessica's doing, and that's what she's saying. Like, if you if you know about it and you're being made aware, you're just as complicit, you're just as guilty of the crime as they are.
Right. So maybe that's a thought there. Maybe we can get her together. Maybe we can talk to her privately. I don't know. But I always give people the benefit of the doubt.
I do too.
What's the saying?
You're the reign supreme advocate. I mean, this kind of rolls on your shoulders. Like you're the mama queen of advocacy. I mean, this kind of rolls on you to take another one under your wing and say, listen, here, let me put you in the right direction, or let's see what you know and what you don't know, or whatever, however you would term it, or whatever. It kind of lays on you for this movement is to be.
Don't lay that on Tiff by herself alone.
It's not about that, right? It's like the stuff, like I told you with Ewing, right? He's old school, right? So he's still got the old school mentality, and he wants to keep doing things the other way. But we're in 2026, right?
Yep. You got to roll with the times.
Doing the shit that they're doing here is working. I don't care what anybody says, right? Even I have to change my mentality. The only part about my mentality that's never changed is you have to know your rights. Okay? That is the foundation. Like I tell
count
people,
on you not.
Right. I am the person you want between your door and CPS. I'm the first line of defense. After that, I got to find you somebody else, because I don't do petitions and I don't know the federal laws. Like the only laws I know are the Constitution. That's it.
Yep.
But not only knowing just your rights, you better know how to use them too, and be able to file these. You know, so that in a return factor, you can get these, which are court transcripts, and then you could go ahead and start drawing your patterns and your timelines together. And
he said timelines and patterns.
Right, but I've said patterns too, right? and if once I do my little first defense, then I would pass them off to somebody else, like you, that just all that. You know what I'm saying? I would pass them off to people that could get them a lot further than me. But I'm telling you, once you invoke all your rights and you stand on them, and you can go in that courtroom and say you are violating this, and this is how you're doing,
Right.
Then,
and you can quote the law. Oh yeah, 100%.
Like you can know your rights. You can know
Ladies and gentlemen,
but if you don't,
Mr. Justin Nicely's in the building.
Right, there's my
I think
man.
he just woke up.
But if you don't know how to use those rights, that's not very helpful. You know, because the cops will be like, oh yeah, whatever. You'd be like, you're violating my First Amendment right or whatnot. And then the police are like, oh, blah, 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 because you can't exactly recite exactly how they're violating.
Yeah, you can't articulate it.
Justin, what do you got to say about that? What do you got to say about what you just heard?
Well, we don't know, Darren, because he went bye-bye.
He took off. He said, nope, I'm not coming in. Too much pressure on him.
No, he'll come back. He has technical difficulties starting every once in a while.
so Darren, because I got to jump off in a minute. My littles are yelling for all kinds of shit. So we need to set up a meeting with me, you, and Jessica.
Screw Becca. She's just the moderator.
She's just the moderating Becca.
Yeah, we can't.
If Becca was standing in front of me right now, I'd probably slap her. Shut up. And we'll go from there on that part. But I am going to continue to watch you all, but they got to go to bed, because I'm not getting woke up with another flood in my house. Okay.
No, don't get another flood. No more
flood.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. All right.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. So I'm jumping off here, and I'm going to continue to watch.
Have a good night, Tiff.
Bye, Tiffy Tiff.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Nice meeting you guys.
You too. So I was hoping we would have been able to keep Justin for this part. I'm hoping he'll come back in here because we was going to discuss some things. I don't know where you're from, but
I'm in Ohio.
okay, we're doing an event on the 25th of May at the Hartville Flea Market. I don't know if you're familiar where that is. It's like right in between Canton and Akron. There's like a little, outskirts of those areas. Right.
I did see that. Justin did send that to me on Facebook. He sent me that he was doing like a get together or whatever.
Yeah, we're doing the Hartville Flea Market on May 25th, Memorial Day. We're picking Memorial Day because all of our soldiers and all these people that fought for our rights and all these freedoms that we have in this country.
And the flea market's always flooded on that day.
It's always flooded that day. There's going to be a lot of people there. We want everybody to come out if they can, even if you're a platform, come out and speak. Come out and get to know the people, find out what's really going on in your communities. We're doing it on Memorial Day for a reason. It's because there's, it's Memorial Day.
Yeah. Do you guys have anybody that's like down, like, because I'm in Miami County, so Akron's like, 2.5, 3 hours away from me, maybe 4.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have anybody that's like down here, like Dayton area. I know you know where Dayton is, so you gotta know where Dayton is. But or other people that are down here that aren't able to make it up there per se.
It'll be live. We'll be broadcasting live.
Justin here, he's in Columbus. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. I'm like 60 miles from Columbus.
I don't know if maybe you wanted to meet up with Justin and carpool or whatnot. You guys could do that for sure.
Okay.
I'll put gas in the tank.
It's from Justin, I think it's 2 hours.
Okay.
Roughly.
Yeah, because I'm west of him. I'm more on the Indiana border.
West.
Yeah.
Right.
I used to live in Indian Lake, so I know you probably know where that is. But
right.
Yeah. So I mean, I used to live there, but
that might have been Justin messaging me here. Go figure.
Wow. So what was the third topic that you guys wanted to bring up tonight?
Criminal charges. Instead of trying to follow these lawsuits everywhere and have to deal with their qualified immunity, take them to criminal court, get them convicted, and then switch over back to civil court for your lawsuits.
Yeah, well, there should be doing that anyway. If you're a parent of abuse and neglect, you should be getting criminally charged for them to terminate your parental rights. That should be a requirement.
Right, but we're talking about charging them, charging CPS workers.
Oh, there should
or
be.
Charging the judge.
Yeah,
those are Monell claims. I mean, essentially, they're
just to clarify that, Darren. To what we're trying to get moved forward is more than just like parental rights. Like say the mother is in trouble, but the father's not. They shouldn't be allowed to come take those children from that father. If there's both the mother and the father, say both of them are in trouble, but there's a grandmother that lives in the home, they could still get them children to their normal schools and to their normal, their
kinship care, essentially.
And when they skip those kinship laws, they should be criminally charged for skipping those kinship laws because that's not part of their procedure to skip those kinship laws.
And Ohio is actually the only state that actually does kinship, and that's fine. And that's based on their financials. Ohio is the only one that does do that actually offers kinship.
Technically, they offer it, but they don't let the parents know during investigations and stuff. They just bypass that whole step.
Mm-hmm. Just like the stipulations, they bypass that whole step of what you need to know. What rights you're giving up. Just same thing, same difference. I mean, they all do it. It's just it's to fast track it, but it's violating due process. I mean, essentially. What the hell, Darren?
He's back.
Justin's back.
Yeah, it looks like he is. His camera's not on. Oh, no, he left.
Did he leave again?
No, he's there.
Cannon City streets grew cold with warrants never signed. Children taken in the night, leaving broken hearts behind. But voices rose from living rooms, from kitchens, from the fray. Fighters for the family.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be. His internet messes with him sometimes.
Trying to effectively shut him down.
Well, we want to promote a little bit about the May on the 25th. We're going to have basically a questionnaire. In a little way, we're going to ask people questions. If you answer the questions correctly, you get a raffle ticket. And we're going to have prizes and all kinds of fun little things like that going
Yeah,
on.
one of those prizes, one of those prizes are going to be subscriptions to the CPS Punisher app.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I don't want to win that.
And I am learning that app as we speak. And as we progress, I will be available to anybody who purchases that app to talk to and help you walk through how to use it. I've been kind of learning a lot about it. It's going to be a very useful tool for somebody who's advocating, trying to help somebody. So, you know,
You into that? Yeah.
And,
Yep.
but we're gonna have popcorn out there, free popcorn. Try to look for some activities for the kids, maybe some. We're not sure what all we're going to be able to get out there yet, but we're going to maybe try to do some balloon animal guy or maybe some face painting for kids and for free, just so that when we're talking to the parents, kids have something to do. They're not
face painted by an advocate. Face painting by advocates.
There you go. I mean, just something cool and
Darren's job of being a face painter, he'd be putting CPS sucks ass on their foreheads.
Damn right I would. Damn right I would be.
So we're going to be out there on the 25th, and we got Justin Nicely here with us tonight, the Ohio Justice Hall of Shame. Justin Nicely will be there from the Canton, the Canton Hall of Shame. We're going to have other people there. I can't think of his name right off rip. A Purple Heart recipient. Josh Brown should be there. He says we should bring chalk for the kids, but I think we're going to be pushed out onto the gravel. The place is going to be too big. All the parking or all of the asphalt lots are probably already reserved. So we're probably pushed out onto the. We're not going to be able to use sidewalk chalk out there. But it was.
Do we know if Cynthia Brown's going to show up for sure?
I don't know. I haven't heard back on that.
Justin, have you thought about doing it on
Kira and George, and she's definitely interested in showing up.
Have you thought about doing one because I know that you said that Justin is you're in Columbus, so have you ever thought about doing one down at Caesars Creek or I guess it's Treasure Island now, but it used to be Caesars Creek Flea Market. There's one down there.
I'll be honest. This year I kind of just mended with Justin a little bit, and I do flea markets and stuff. I buy storage lockers, and it was just one of my ideas. Hey, why don't we just get a flea market lot, pay for a lot on one?
I mean, really, it's a good idea. I mean, my dad did it for years. He did it for 20 years, so it was that is a genius idea.
We'll get a lot for $20 or $30, put up a few tents and tables, hand out flyers. We have QR code flyers that we'll be passing out. We also have QR codes people can scan right there to get information about, parental rights and things you can do to protect your families and your children. And, and everything we're going to have out there is going to be free, and we're not asking for money to do the raffle. You just got to answer a simple question about, liberties and constitutional rights and things like that to be able to get, a ticket to win. Josh says even flags to pass out. That tyranny flag behind me, when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. We'll probably have some of those flags out there also to raffle off. Everything's free. We're not asking anybody for $1. So,
but you know what? I bet you if you did happen to want to donate something to their cause to help with,
we've kicked around the idea of having a donation bucket, but we're not really, into trying to profit in any kind of way. However, if we did, get any kind of donations, they would go into the cause for the cause. Nobody would be using it to go
to get
prostitutes or drugs.
Buy some prostitutes and drugs.
Or some new dentures.
Right,
No, I just didn't know if you had, I didn't know if you guys were if you wanted to do something like that was because I know since that's kind kind of at the north point of the state. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's something like south. I didn't know if that was like a something that you guys were contemplating or expanding on or anything
Well,
of that nature.
we do got the 4th of July and Labor Day weekend coming up. Those are usually big flea market
Hmm.
weekends too. But we could also go to other places, and it don't have to be flea markets. It could be,
Hmm.
we might be able to set up somewhere at a fall festival as long as we're having a peaceful little rally.
Or
And
even a fair?
I wouldn't say a fair, but like,
No.
there,
No one
there's,
should have affairs. Nobody should be having affairs.
yeah, we should.
Karen, that
But
is not what I said.
there's just a lot of other types of activities that go on. Like here at my village, for instance, we do a street fair every year,
Hmm.
and they do it, and it's hilarious. They do it right in front of my house. My whole
No.
They block it off. They put kid rides out there, or kid activities out there, and games. They have a band down the street that plays.
Hmm.
And this year we're going to try to set up here at the street fair in my village, where all the judges, the police officers, and prosecutors all get to sit right in front of my house and eat the chicken they buy from our fire department. So we're going to be
Well,
sitting
yeah, that's a good idea too.
and we want to have dialogue right in front of them. I'm tired of them hiding in the shadows. I don't know anybody who's ever seen their judge or their public defender out anywhere. Where do they shop? Where do they go hang out? You ever see them in an amusement park? You ever see them at the park? You ever see them at the
Nope.
movie theaters or any place at bowling alleys? No, you don't. The only place you see them is walking in or out of a courtroom.
Isn't that weird?
It's like they live in a dungeon underneath the place or something.
It's like they have shops underneath the towns and they all go down there to buy their groceries. Because like you said, I don't think I think I have seen, like, since I had a CPS case about 5-6 years ago, I have seen one CPS worker and I've seen her, and it's the same one every time, but I've seen her out, but that's it. Never seen the judge. And I actually went to high school with one of the magistrates. So I see her, I mean, and I don't see her, and we live in the same town.
If you see her out, chances are she's out there preying on another child somewhere.
Probably.
I hate to say that about the world and the way it works, but that's just the way it is. And that's where the charges need to start being filed that me and Justin were talking and covering on, where instead of taking them, like everybody's like, oh, I'll sue you. Well, instead of suing them, why don't you take them and charge them for criminal charges? I mean, if they came into your home or into, your kids' school or whatever and took your children without any, safety plan or any type of efforts being made to keep the family intact, if they just came and took your children, just took them and didn't try to do anything for you beforehand, that's a kidnapping, and that should be charged as a kidnapping, just as if I or you went and stole somebody else's child.
I mean, hell, they charge parents for taking their own kid. You know what I mean? Like that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. It's actually, in the Constitution, the way it's written, there's no way you can kidnap your kid because you're the sole proprietor of that child. The government isn't supposed to be able to get involved in you raising your children.
Yeah. Whether it's Ohio government or the federal government, I mean, nobody is supposed to interfere. And I literally I was informed yesterday because my daughter was driving on her little scooter thingy the other day from school, and this lady tried to run her off the road. So a city ordinance. So I called the cops because they were calling her every form of names, under the sun. She's 11, okay, mind you. And the cop literally come here and told me that it is illegal for my child to ride a scooter on the road. What? It's illegal in my town for you to ride a scooter, a skateboard, or roller skates on the road. And I'm like, excuse me? when did this happen? Like, where? That is just complete craziness to me. I was blown away by that. And I'm like, you guys are just taking, your police powers are way too, they're just way overreach. That's for sure.
Right. Well, they don't let kids be kids no more. Ohio just had to pass a law here recently that you're allowed to let your kids play outside and it not be completely considered child abuse or neglect.
I didn't think it ever was.
Did you see that, Justin? Why do we have to
Yeah,
pass a
yeah.
law?
It's sad we had
Why
to
do we
make a
have to
law to
pass a
stop
law
that.
and let our kids be fucking kids?
Right? I know, but not even be able to ride. And then literally, you have to be, if you're over the age of 13, you can ride on the street on a bicycle. But if you're under the age of 13, you have to ride on the sidewalk.
See, when I was a kid growing up, if you
You
weren't
didn't ride
riding,
on the sidewalk.
if you were riding on the sidewalk, you could get a ticket for riding
Yeah.
people on the sidewalk.
I said the same thing. I thought, I didn't think she was like doing anything wrong. He's like, well, then you could be killed. He said, then you could be criminally charged if she runs into anything. And then, or if there's an
Then don't
accident, you
worry
could be.
about it until then.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, then it can turn into child endangerment because I allow her because there's no busing, so she has to walk to school every day. And I was like, so I got her a scooter so she could ride it to school every day. Makes more sense. She could get there faster. Oh no, you could be criminally charged for that, for child endangerment. Are you what? For
Kids
letting her
ride
ride it?
their bicycles to school.
I'm like, what are you? I'm like, for riding a scooter. And I'm like,
Kids ride their bicycles to school, I'm sure.
right? Why would you have a bike rack out there if you didn't? It just makes no sense. I'm like, do you hear the words that are coming out of your mouth? Do you hear how stupid they sound? Like, because I couldn't even believe it. I was blown away. I was just like, what? Are you guys serious right now? He's like,
Well,
oh yeah, it's a misdemeanor. She could be charged. I'm like, huh. You might give me a break.
I'd be wanting to know who the victim was, and
I told him
Yeah,
I'd be wanting
the victim was charged.
I'd be wanting to face my accuser, because
Yes.
it sounds to me like somebody just wants to enforce a policy, not an actual law.
Oh yeah.
That's another big part of what's wrong with today's society is everybody says, oh, well, that's against the law. That's against the law. That's it. Well, no, actually, it's not. It's not against the law to do 90 miles an hour in the 70. It's against their policy, but it's not against the law. You see, there's a big difference there. And and I'm not trying to encourage everybody out here to go fucking 90 miles an hour in the 70. You're going to get yourself a ticket and cost yourself hundreds of dollars.
Right.
But anyway, but it is bullshit because it's not exactly a law, and I understand there's safety stuff that goes with that and the reasons why it's that way. But there's other laws that are just completely against our people, that are just ways to steal money from the general public, to turn somebody that's not a criminal into a
criminal.
into a tax bracket for the court. That's just all there is to it. I don't believe our law was designed to be the way that they're turning it into, to police the people. These data centers, I believe, are data centers for basically putting all of the data from your life into a file, so that you're going to have smart cities eventually, or what I call I can't remember how I was calling it the other day, but they're basically going to surveillance cities. There you go. It's another
Charter city.
They're
He's
going to
calling
be
it charter city.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to go out. You go outside and your kid left her Capri Sun, drink on your picnic table overnight. The next thing you know, you're going to have a $30 or $40 deduction out of your bank account electronically because they gave you a fine because you broke their ordinance or their policy that you can't leave trash outside overnight or something.
I literally had him tell me that yesterday because my car's broke down, right? My driveway was the control arm meter replaced. So it's up on a jack. And he's like, well, when he was here yesterday, he's like, well, I could actually ticket you, put a ticket on your car. And he says, if I come back in a week, he says, and it's not, and it's not like it's not drivable. It's literally just being worked on. He's like, I can label it as junk. And then if you don't have it done within a week, and I come back and it's ticketed, he said, I'll give you a fine.
They're supposed to mark the tire and the road.
No, it's in my driveway.
They really shouldn't be allowed to do that. You want to
Right?
On your property.
You want to fuck them up? Put a car cover over it.
And I'm like, but he
out.
said because it was junk, and I'm like,
hear me out though. Put a car cover on it because they're not allowed to come lift your car cover to see if it's plated or not. And if it's got a car cover on it, they have to literally trespass and move something to be able to see if you have a plate on that vehicle. So I just put a car cover over it. And
My husband's dad was a cop for like 30 years. So he's like, I'm glad I wasn't here. He says I would have schooled him real quick, like about how he was, you know, being awfully invasive into our private property. He says I would have easily set him up for complete failure.
That's exactly my issue against these data centers and utilizing the flock cameras they got set up and these drones they got flying around Columbus. It's like they're doing a full-on investigation on you all because you walked past the camera. What's the
But
probable cause behind that investigation?
but then there's people like Danielle's son who they can't find with all these cameras, with all data technology.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that very, very, very suspicious how they can't find one person, but everybody has a camera. There's cameras everywhere, but you can't locate a missing person,
We've got 4K
Not
images of
one.
sunsets on Mars. We can't find that one person.
right? That just makes no sense to me. That's not even logical commons. I mean, what are you doing? What are you covering up? What are you doing? Because essentially that's what it looks like to people who are essentially have an open mind and are, they're awake, they're aware.
I mean, everybody's either got a camera or a ring camera.
That's
You
what
know,
I said.
out here where I live in the middle of
So wait a minute. Let me
nowhere.
ask you.
I
This
mean,
is the only one that can make you disappear like that.
where I live in the middle of nowhere, and there was a case out here not long ago where they rescued a woman who was being basically kidnapped and beat up and shit by her ex, and he she was able to escape from him, but she was hiding on this person's property, and because she had a ring camera and kept popping up on this person's ring camera, the police ended up showing up there and rescuing that poor girl. So even out in the sticks where you wouldn't think
Right?
there are cameras, there's cameras.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of the woods, you got all these hunters out where I live. They got trail cameras up everywhere. You can't walk through the woods and expect not to get on somebody's trail camera somewhere out here. And
Right?
most of them are like a cell phone now, where as soon as you walk by that camera, I'm getting a
It
notification
automatic. Yep.
on my phone. I know you're in my woods. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's getting, the securities and stuff are tightening up on the people in a lot of different ways. But I still think, that like the data centers, man, that's where we're our children and our grandchildren and the people that are going to be our future are going to have a serious problem, because none of them are going to be able to live a fearless, free life. It's
Well,
always
no. And when you go to the medical doctor, it literally says, I know I told Darren about this months ago, but I was reading on the release for the release of information. It literally says that when you sign this, it says that you release the information of all of your medical information to the federal government, your local government, city, county, all these people, that you release that information to them. And I'm like, whoa, 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 I'm not, no, for their medical research. I'm like, excuse me.
Not medical research.
That's
As a
purely crazy.
research.
Yeah, for their research and their data collection. Data collection, research, and um, there was another one. But I mean, essentially, it was like, wait, why does the federal government need that? Why does the state need that? Like, and you're literally signing that, and you're not even realizing it. Nobody realizes that. I literally was just so happened to be reading, and I was like, oh, what's this say? And I read it, and I said, oh my god. I said, nope, I am not signing that. And then in order to revoke it, then you have to send them a written letter saying that you revoke it, and they can still deny it being revoked. Crazy.
Yeah, because once it hits their servers, it's their data.
Yeah.
Yeah, they act like they own everything, don't they? The land, the data, the air, the water.
I mean, they charge you for freaking runoff water, for rainwater. At least they do here with me. I know they charge me for rainwater. I literally get charged on my water bill, rain runoff, rain or storm water, storm drainage.
Wow. These are all your
I
storm
mean, usually it's just sewer.
No, no, no. They have sewer and runoff. Like when it rains.
So their runoff, all their gutters go to an underground sewer. That they don't have like trenches or ditches. They have an actual underground rain sewer. It is also a sewage sewer.
Yes, as a plumber, I could tell you that's new code. Like that's how it's supposed to be. You cannot have your sewer lines and your drainage lines connecting together.
Yeah, so now they essentially charge you for your rainwater. And I'm
Next
like,
thing, they're charging you for how much it is to breathe.
right?
You know.
Who can tax the sunrise? Who can tax the rain? The
Mm-hmm.
government can.
Yeah. Who can steal your children? Charge the federal government for a fee.
And Debbie's right. She says your medical should be private and not being shared with no one. Yeah, you're right. It
You
shouldn't be.
Well,
gotta
that should
love
be
old Jim Hawk.
doctor-patient confidentiality.
Yeah.
But because you sign that paper, that releases that confidentiality.
So everybody needs to start reading those. Don't just sign it because they had it electronically on my phone. So I got on my chart and I was like going through and I was going to read the pre paperwork for the for the first visit and I'm like reading it and I'm like I'm not signing that. Then I got to the office and I was like I have an issue with your consent form and she was like what's that and I was like well it says on there that you're going to release my information to the government and all these other places. I said I'm not signing that. And she's like okay well go ahead. And I said, read it to me. I told her to read it to me. She read it to me. And I said, right there it is. I said, I'm not signing that. Make me.
Would you sign it? That's what I'd ask her.
I mean, I'm like, that's
No.
not, no, I wouldn't. Well, who would do that? Like, you're just giving them, you're giving them permission to watch you. That doesn't make me paranoid. That makes me smart. That makes me cautious.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, a lot of people don't realize how big the extortion in the hospitals are anyway,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the medical kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
They got
Well,
CPS
not only
cat
that,
right
but-
there in the hospital.
Not only that, but the medical care everywhere else, well, I won't say everywhere else, but a lot of places in the world are a lot cheaper and a lot more effective than they are here. These doctors in America, there are no laws set in place that say they have to cure your illness. There are
Mm-hmm.
only laws that say they have to treat them. Therefore, if they could treat you and charge you, 50 times or 100 times, then there's a lot more money in that than curing you for the one time.
Yeah, and essentially they cut off, when they decide to start putting in that effort or stop putting in that effort due to your age.
Right. Right. Oh, we can't help you no more because you have all these other medical issues that they could have probably helped you with years ago, but they wanted to keep treating you so they could keep getting money. Therefore, your body breaks down and, then you have back
You have to
problems.
keep coming back. Yeah, you're a reoccurring customer.
Problems, liver problems, colon problems. It's just, a lot of people out here, I'm starting to see got a lot of colon problems out here in this movement we're pushing. A lot of butt hurt people out here for sure.
Need to hit up Justin for that desperation age.
Oh, man.
and I contacted Justin because they all have agreements. And like you can find them. Like I found mine for my county and literally like all these people that work together. And this is signed by the juvenile court judge, the prosecutor, the police departments in my county, like and CPS, and it gives their whole procedure. Everything.
Right.
What they can and can't do. And I'm like,
they try to medicate your children too, in a way. They want to medicate your children because the more
they get more money.
They put your children on, the more money they get, and the more behavioral issues your child has, the more counselors they have to go see, the more they have to pry into why is your child acting crazy because we kidnapped him or her. The more they got to dig into that, the more money they make. And it's insane because most of the children that are in the foster care system don't belong in the foster care system.
Nope.
And them children know that. And that's why they're acting out. They're acting out because them children know that they have a better home back at home. That's just the bottom line. Why'd your kid acting this way?
Right.
Well, I don't know. You tell me. You're the one raising them.
And then when they place them back in your care, and then they want to know why then you continue down the road, then you have another issue down the road, and then they want to know why they have these issues in the first place. And it's like, well, look back at all the trauma you just caused.
Right.
Look back at what all you just did. You took them from a parent.
When they first sent my kids home, The third day my kids were home, that caseworker wanted to come and check on the kids. And one of the first things out of her mouth was, "Did you guys get them in counseling yet?" So I was like, "Well, what the hell would make you think I would need to do that?" She goes, "Well, because, they go through some." Oh, well, so that you
Hmm.
put them through psychological bullshit. You're
Yep.
fucking with their heads.
They know they do it. They don't
So
care.
so I put it to her like this. I said, if I feel my kids need counseling outside what I can do for them, then I might seek counseling. But I think right now you guys and your stupid counseling and everything else you've done to my children has been far worth more than
More damage than I could have done even as their parent.
my children knew the word no, but they never used it with me. And now they
Right.
tell me no all the time. It's I won't say it's a complete battle because I got sweet, awesome kids, but like they taught my kids some things that I would have never taught my
The
children.
school systems, and it's all been integrated into the school. It's all, I mean, literally our authority as parents is gone.
And
I don't know. I mean,
then
it's
they
gone.
all come home. All my three little girls, okay, come home. I had a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, and an 11-year-old girl that come home, and a 17-year-old boy. Now I didn't mind so much about him because he's a 17-year-old boy, but my three little girls, are you kidding me? I never allowed them to have any social media whatsoever. They all three came home with Snapchats, talking to
Well,
family members that I've been keeping my kids away from for the last 8 years since I moved to this part of Ohio to get away from them. So
yep.
they sat there and allowed my family that I've been living 80 miles away from on purpose.
And that are who they are, and they essentially, that's what I find so funny, is that who these people are.
And
So
I know
you
some of them
essentially
probably,
protect your child from them, and then they're like, oh well, we're just going to let you have access. No.
and I know some of them are probably watching this, and snake ass family members of mine. And if they do watch this and see it, then I hope you hear it because, like, for real, if you feel some type of way, it's because it is about you.
Yep.
The
I
ones
mean,
that I
essentially.
have in my corner, they know who they are. They know who they are.
Hmm. And I mean, people don't like that, and that's one of my bigger things, was that, like, when my kids' dad and I had divorced, and essentially, like, I didn't allow my kids to go around him because he was on drugs really bad, and he was like super strung out, and he'd get paranoid, and he'd make some crazy comments, and I'm like, so I didn't let them around him without me being around. When CPS came and took my kids, they were letting him come around every day. He was allowed to be there every day. I was only allowed to see my kids for 1 hour 1 day a week, and they limited me, but then they gave him unlimited access, and I'm like, wait, like, I literally have kept them away from him because it's not safe. But you're just going to allow them to go to see him every day. You're not going to put any restrictions. Didn't put him on a safety plan, didn't do none of this. But I was like bound by this, that I wasn't allowed to be there. I wasn't allowed to do that. And I'm like, no. I'm not doing it no more. I said, you guys either put him on a safety plan, give him drug tests, do what you got to do. Well, he's taking drug test from probation. Okay, and are you telling me that you now confer with probation to give him drug tests, and that's okay? I'm like, no. I'm like, you guys can't make this decision. These are my kids. This is my decision. I kept him away for a reason. Like, there wasn't a reason why I didn't, because trust me, I wanted him to be their dad, but how he was acting was not being a dad. I mean, it was scary.
Right.
Like, when you get told they're gonna come get these kids, or they're gonna find me dead in a ditch somewhere, and it's gonna be your fault, um, you turn your ass back around and you go get your kids, which is exactly what I did. And I didn't let him see him after that because he was so paranoid. I mean, this guy literally thought that there was diamonds in these rocks that were next to the railroad tracks. Like, that's how far he was gone.
Oh wow. That's
Like,
crazy.
so,
But there might be. They were moving a lot of diamonds on them old trains back in the day.
well, I'm telling you what, if I still have the actual pictures, but if I actually had these things that he swore were diamonds,
I hear you.
Probably granite. Granite and quartz.
I get people bring me these little rocks with all these little specks in them all the time. Is it gold? It's like, man, have you ever heard of a gold rush in Ohio, man? Like,
right?
go on with yourself.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, those are definitely not diamonds. And my son, my oldest, is just as gullible as his dad. And so, he'd be telling him, and I'm like, stop telling my kid that. I'm like, I don't want him to look stupid going to school telling anybody there's diamonds in these rocks. I was like,
I,
stop telling him that.
I can test it.
I have a diamond tester now, but I mean, I was just like, really, like you're that far off, like, and you're just gonna let him just be around my kids, like you guys make no sense. I mean, getting them fired, and that was always the fun night. That was always the fun thing to do. I mean, I got like three of them fired. They slandered me, left a voicemail left me a voicemail on my phone, and they just kept digging their holes deeper and deeper and deeper. By December, when they were had to come to my house because I'm like, why don't they were closing the case? I said, why do they got to come to my house? He's like, because you got to sign paperwork, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. So they came to my house. And I said, she got there. I signed that paper. I said, now get the fuck out. I said, I don't want to see you guys ever again.
Right.
And she's like, well, you don't have to. And I said, no, I do. Now get out. Because you have already destroyed and, I mean, taken, months from me for taking my kids. And then I get them back. And then when I had another case, then like you were saying earlier, something about the prior case, like them having them saying that they have reason to not or reason to remove them first. Their prevention reasons on my paperwork, I kid you not, literally says previous cases, drug test offered, and prior and what was it? Previous cases, drug test offered, and there was another one. But that was the reason for prevention. They said that that was the reason for
So let me ask
prevention
you,
for
was it
removal.
previous cases or was it previous accusations?
No, yeah, it was an accusation because I was stupid and I stipulated, but I didn't know about stipulation until like 6 months ago,
I
or
got.
probably about a year ago, and nobody really even knows what those are.
See, that's
And
the problem. They come into your life, okay? The world needs to hear this, okay? They come into your life, you know nothing about the system. You have no clue what they're doing. You go in there, you think you're getting your kids home in a couple days or whatever. You go to your adjudication hearing. The next thing you know, the judge is telling you that you're basically like there's another hearing. I can't think what it's called. You'll go to within like a couple weeks after that, and then they'll tell you in that hearing that well, we'll see at the review hearing.
yeah,
Ohio
so
only has
yeah,
to
the
do one
adjudication
every
hearing.
12. We only got to do one every 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really puts people in a bad way because immediately you're thinking you're not going to get your kids back till you go to this review hearing in 12 months.
No, and here's the thing. So okay, so here's how it's supposed to operate. So you have your initial removal hearing, right? You have your 72-hour hearing, your shelter hearing, as they call it down here.
Right.
You have that hearing. Well, then after that hearing, then that's where they determine if your kids need to be left in state
Yeah,
custody or if
the
they can be returned.
adjudication. They do your
Okay, so then they have another hearing. Okay, this is the adjudication hearing. They have to, by Ohio law, separate these two hearings. Okay, unless your attorney does what my attorney did and what every attorney and everybody literally. I've had hundreds of people reach out to me. You guys have to understand. I've had hundreds of people reach out to me, and one person has literally told me that their attorney told them what a stipulation was and what it did. Okay. My attorney didn't tell me this, and I had to find this out on my own. And literally, I reflected back when I found out what it was. I reflected back to the exact day it happened, the adjudication hearing. My attorney had went and spoken to CPS's attorney. Okay, come back and told me they're going to find your kids dependent. Okay, and I said, okay, well, what does that mean? For my kids, what is that? Like, what does it do? And he's like, it's a broad definition, blah, 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 blah. He's like, just say yes, when the judge asks you in court. That was the extent of the actual interaction. Now, if he was doing it how he was supposed to do it, they would have had me agree to that. Okay. I have to agree. You have to enter anything knowingly, intelligently, and willfully. And that includes a oral contract because that is a oral contract. That is not it's not something you have to sign necessarily. That right there is that spot where they bypass that. So then once it was bypassed and once they found the kids dependent, then they can actually take the adjudicatory hearing and the dispositional hearing and combine them together. That is how they do that. That is how they violate due process and how they are essentially skipping those steps. That's how they do it. I promise you, and I probably just said about 50,000 people's story, just saying my story.
right, right.
Because if you think about it and you literally sit here and think about it and you're like, oh, well, reflect on the day that it happened and you're like, oh my God, that is how it happened. Yeah. and you weren't allowed to submit any evidence. You weren't allowed to submit anything else, because you essentially waived your right to a trial and said CPS's allegations that they had against you were true, and you removed their burden of proof. That's what you did. That's what happened.
Right. That's exactly what they do. They trick you
Yeah.
into agreeing that you were a bad parent in some kind of way.
Yeah, that's what they do. When you stipulate with them, it literally removes CPS's burden to prove you a bad parent, and you
Safety
just
plan.
admitted to it. You admitted to it.
Safety plan.
It's crazy. And then these attorneys, but I essentially say that that is called what I call stipulation abuse. That is the attorney.
Well, if they're going to take your child from your home,
Oh
that
yeah.
that attacks the child too.
Hmm.
So just being real, I mean, it takes no common sense whatsoever to realize that if it's a big enough problem to where you have to remove this child for that child's safety, then that parent was putting that child in enough danger for a removal. Why isn't that child's parent leaving in handcuffs?
Yep.
If you're
And did you
removing
know
that
that
child,
according to their judicial bench book, the kids are supposed to be there?
right? But if you just hear what I'm saying though, if it's really that neglectful, if it's
Mm-hmm.
really that abusive for that child to stay in that home,
Yeah.
then why are there no charges attached to the parent?
No,
They're-
because they can't cross criminal and civil.
They go in a family court and they want to get you to plead to what they call a dependency. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's still some kind of charge that you're saying, yeah, I'm guilty of a dependency now, even though you're not guilty of that dependency. That's what they're going off of now to make you take all your
Well,
stupid.
they can't prove it in criminal court because the burden of proof is too high for them for their narrative to prove their narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know, they threaten you, they coerce you into taking these plea deals by making you believe that it's going to be easier than taking them to a trial.
100%. Yeah,
But a
they
lot of
always
these
do. They
parents,
literally tell you, you do this, you'll get your kids back faster. That's that is literally
right,
exactly what they do.
right.
And I
But if you
guarantee
take them
you,
to trial
parents.
right there, though, if you take them to trial right there, though, and they ain't got no, if they didn't have any safety
Clear and
plan in
convincing.
place before they took your kids, if they didn't show up at your door to try to even have a conversation with you, and they just went straight to take your kids because they so-called have priors they're going off of, and they were only accusations and things like that,
Mhm.
that you should be taking that to trial.
I mean,
Because
here, me, myself, and I, they showed up at my house back in February 2024. She told me all the allegations. I gave her the time to give me all the allegations, and I asked her, the only thing I asked her, do you have a warrant? No. I said, well, then I guess this conversation is over. She's like, well, we're going to go get one. And I said, okay, well, when you go get one, I will lawfully, and you can show me that it is a lawful order. You can come in my house and you can talk to my kids. But until then, no. They went and they got an emergency removal order. And then they thought that they were gonna then they took my kids that day. And I'm like, okay. I got them back a week later and it was dismissed. I'm like, you guys know. I mean, because I sat there, I put the CPS worker on the stand, and I'm like, so wait a minute here. And they got a tip. Here's the even bigger kicker. So they got a tip from the magistrate in a private in a private custody hearing, from a private custody hearing. Tell me they're not having ex parte communication. I know where that tip came from. I know
they
exactly
absolutely
where it
have
came
ex
from.
parte communication. They
That's
all got each other's
exactly the
cell phone
definition
numbers
of
and
it.
emails. They all
Yep.
have each other's cell phone numbers and emails.
Mhm.
There is so much communication between that prosecutor, that magistrate, that judge, your caseworker and the judge. You think
Mhm.
they ain't all out somewhere having coffee at some private club that you ain't allowed in somewhere?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's really what's going on out there. Everybody's, like I said, you'll see them out anywhere. You'll see them anywhere you go. So they all got their own little private little places that all these people go to, and they hang out with each other because that's all they have. They don't have a community base like we do. They're in their own little pocket over there, hiding up here on the shelf until it's time for court. Then they come down and rob all of us and go back up in their little hole over there. It's time we put that to a stop. Sorry, I'm trying to read some comments here.
I know, I was reading them too.
Yeah.
Shauna Kirby said,
Speaking of putting it to a stop,
have lawyers that work for them supposed to be working for you and the child. I hate to tell you this, but
They all work for the court.
they work for the court. And
That's their first sworn duty to the court.
they don't have any
I don't care if it's paid, not paid.
if they work for the bar association, they're working for the court's best interest.
Yep.
So if there's more money in the court taking your children than leaving your children at home, the court's going to choose taking your children. If there's more money in
Every
putting
time.
you in jail, they're going to put you in jail. They're
Every
following
time.
the money.
Yep. Follow the money. If you follow the
Have you
money, you
guys
will always
seen
come
the
back to the
new
same thing.
But Justin was trying to say something. Go ahead,
came
bud.
out? Did it freeze up?
What was that?
Sorry, I was switching back to Wi-Fi and it froze up on me. But have you guys seen the new executive order to create a fraud task force?
I did see that.
Yeah,
Oh,
We should.
there he goes.
If,
All right.
He's usually pretty good at coming right back in.
Okay, hold on. I'll bring it back in. Hold on. I got you, Justin. There you go. I think, maybe. Nope. Yep, he went out again. There he is. Hold on. I got to turn you on your camera. There you go. There you go. Stop touching.
So Kathleen Arthur, she immediately put in a letter to recommend looking into Title IV altogether.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
They've done that a million times. The problem with Title IV is this: it works perfectly.
Right.
The problem with Title IV is the people that administer the money are corrupt.
Right, and the people that are getting it are corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what can we do about the task force and their investigation?
Eliminate Title IV funding completely, or change the words adoption and
To
termination
reunification.
reunification.
Yes.
Like, it's simple. It's a simple wording thing because, like, legally, it's all about the words. So if you were to change adoption with reunification and incentivized keeping the kids at home, but here's my whole thing. Here's my whole look on the scam that comes out of this. Okay, so you get so much money every year for them doing the Title IV funding for adoption, whatever else. How much money are they spending realistically? Because, okay, so they're rendering services. So here's where the fraud ties in. They're rendering services that they're claiming to the federal government for these kids. Now, if they're in the home, you know what services you're getting. Okay, you know what you know what you're getting. Okay, but if they're sent to the adoption agency and they're sent for adoption, they're in foster homes or foster care. They're nobody's there to monitor what they're essentially spending that money on. So there you are yet again.
You
A
know what I
parent's
think
gonna
Title
know.
IV funding money should be for? Like the 15-month rule in the state of Ohio for termination of parental rights. That it shouldn't be an incentive for that. It should be an
No.
incentive to reunite the child within 15 months. If you
Yep.
reunite the child and the family within 15 months, the state should get then
A bonus.
And
Do you
that's
know how
your
much money
reward.
that saves? Do you know how much
Mhm.
money that saves if you change that? I'll tell you exactly because I have a bill that me and Tiff wrote for this.
I imagine billions nationwide.
Oh
Mhm.
man,
Tons and tons of money.
they won't take as many children. I'll tell you that because they won't be able to keep as many.
Just for Ohio, what I was putting together was close to $1 billion, like 850 million.
Mm-hmm. Where is it here? Trying to figure out where it is here. Hold on, I gotta find it. And show windows, go folder.
Let's see here. Come on. Come up. What does it say?
Okay, yeah, that's streaming.
All right, where's the Tiffany Punisher bill?
It ran away.
I still see you. I don't see her. Becca left.
Oh yeah, because I was looking on something. Jurisdiction. No, that's not it. Legal analysis. No. Parenting. No. Here we go. Is this it? I think this is it. Okay. No, that's not it. Mother effer. Right here. I think this is it. Let's go. Nope, 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 nope. Go to the top.
This GMP bill. This is
Oh, right here. Federal prosecution.
this is just the one for Virginia. It says that let's see. Let's see. Projected savings under this act is 25% reduction in foster care entries. Roughly annual direct fiscal impact is net annual direct savings is $40 to $70 million per year. 5-year cumulative projection. This is just for Virginia. But 5-year net savings is 180 million to 320 million. That's just by changing those words from adoption to reunification.
So it also says there's more in here. It says the machine is not just taking care of children. It's an entire federally reimbursed bureaucracy. Ohio's numbers are substantial. Ohio reported 647.8 million total computable Title IV4 claims. Approximately 326.1 million federal reimbursement. Over 14,000 Title IV administrative pre-placement caseload figures combined.
Now add on the 200 million that's spent on the child trafficking task force here in Ohio. And if we was able to keep it a third of the children from ending up in trafficking, how much that would save the task force.
So how much is one child to get? Like how much is like if you break that down, how much is one child's value to them? Like what's a child's future? What's a child's fucking mentality and feelings and their what is their well-being worth to the state of Ohio for one child? So if you break
I think it was like
down,
$1 million.
So if they get so here's what I look at. Like if they were in your life and they stripped you of everything, they took your car, they took your business, they tried to take your home, they tried to do like these are all things that I lost except my home. I still own my home. It's about all I got left. But like once they get the Title IV funding, they were able to reunite your family within that first 15 months. They should have to split that Title IV funding with that family so that family can rebuild what they just tore the hell apart.
So it even says right here, it says that Ohio reports only a tiny prevention services caseload of 4.5 for direct services in that category. It's extremely small compared to Ohio's foster care caseload numbers in the other report. Effectively, this can support an argument that Ohio's Title IV structure still appears far more weighted towards foster care system administration than direct preventative family services. Administration remains heavily funded. One of the biggest takeaways, administrative claiming remains enormous. Ohio prevention services delivery was about $1.1 million. Administration plus training is $3.9 million combined. That pattern appears in many states. So even in prevention programs, bureaucracy itself remains a major reimbursable category.
Well, guess who's controlling our bureaucracy here in Ohio? Let's get into that topic. Mr. Les Wexner and his wife Abigail.
Federal funding structures materially influence child welfare policy. States are financially rewarded for participating in federally approved child welfare frameworks. Administrative growth is heavily subsidized. Child welfare systems are increasingly centralized around data reporting, approved interventions, and reimbursement compliance. The line between family help services and state intervention becomes increasingly blurred. The strongest defensible argument would be the federal child welfare funding structure creates institutional incentives for expanding administrative oversight and intervention into family life while trying to reimburse to federally approved models, reporting systems, and participation metrics.
So you mentioned data reporting in there, and I mentioned earlier data centers being your surveillance centers, and eventually you're not going to have a human being sitting there data reporting you. You're going to have an AI bot that's doing it automatically at the speed of lightning. And once that bot's got enough information, it draws your file to the top for a human being to review it.
And it even says the spending difference between the two reports, which was for For preventative care and then actual foster care, it says the first report, the 2024 Title 4E Foster Care Claims Report, reflects the Cork foster care system spending structures. Foster placements, administration, legal representation, training, databases, agency management, eligibility determinations, and operational infrastructure. Nationally, total computable cost about $9.73 billion, federal reimbursement about $5.15 billion. By contrast, the prevention services report is dramatically smaller because it only tracks family first style prevention programs and related administration. From Ohio, the numbers specifically, foster care administration reports total Title IV foster care related cost 647.8 million and federal reimbursement was 326.1 million. Prevention services was total related cost for 5 million. $5 million. Federal reimbursement was 2.5 compared. Ohio appears to spend over 100 times more on the foster care administration system than on direct prevention services. Yep, they sure do. 100% more
Right.
on foster care than prevention.
And you got people out here that are like, oh, well, the prevention's really up to the parent to not get their kids taken. You
No.
know, people, and I so often hear that bullshit. People don't realize these kids are being taken from you. You may not think it's coming. And it could be tomorrow or the next day, but somebody you know that you know damn well shouldn't have had their kids taken is going to get their kids taken.
Right.
And let's put a stop to it. It says nobody's immune to this. It's rich people aren't immune to this. They're not attacking rich or poor. They're attacking stupid.
Everybody.
They're attacking. If you're too stupid to be able to fight them, they keep your kids. That's just the way it goes. If you're smart enough to learn the process, learn their game they're playing, and go in there and kick their ass at their own game, then you could just pretty much just.
I tell people that all the time. I tell people that all the time.
So this
Like, you gotta learn their strategy.
Your paperwork, because it ain't gonna do you no good unless you know how to use it and enforce what it says.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, if you don't, you got to beat them at their own game. This is their game. This is their arena. So, I mean, you have to learn their policy, their procedure, how they do stuff, and use it against them.
Yes.
So this says if you use the bill that Tiff and I were talking about and we would enact, the state of Ohio alone, after 5 years, there would net savings approximately $600 to $950 million in direct expenditures.
Yeah. That sounds like my research.
Yep. It even says the foster care administrative system receives roughly 10 to 20 times more funding nationally than prevention services systems.
I'm saying that this is if you implemented the bill. If you just change reunification, adoption to reunification in the state of Ohio, this is what it would save you.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, because it would create a collateral effect of other organizations that are involved in all this, or domino effect.
Yep. So people might say that
it would keep more children from entering the foster care system, which prevents more children from entering trafficking.
Yeah, we definitely need to stop as many going in as what's going in, and also focus on bringing the ones that are in that need to be back home.
Well,
you got all these parents out here too worrying about me, I. This is what they did to me. This is what they did. This is how they're treating, me and whatever.
I have to put people in their place when they talk about that, because I'm like, wait a minute here. I'm like, it's not just you. You're not special. Okay.
It's about the child.
Right.
That's in that foster care system that has to live with them strangers, has to learn their fucking stupid ways and rules, and they get punished in other ways that the other kids in that home may not be. You're not my child. My kid, my kid sits there. You're not sitting. That's my kid's chair. Get out of it. Those are the type of things that these foster care kids deal with, and some of them foster. Now, I'm not saying every foster home is going to be like that, but some of them foster homes are exactly like that. And they say it's in the best interest of your child to go be treated like shit. That's all got to stop. If we didn't have, like right now, I think Ohio is trying to pass a bill, or may have passed a bill, that they're trying to give, you know, more incentive to bring in more foster parents. Okay. Well,
I literally said that earlier. Yeah, they're trying to
why?
get
Which on the
RFKs.
surface it sounds good because there is a lot of issues with foster parents that shouldn't be foster parents.
Well,
But you look
here you go.
deeper into the bill, it's very concerning.
Here's how you get rid of those issues, Justin. You go to all those foster parents and you make them all have to take parenting classes and anger management classes, and you make them have to do everything that your so-called child you're going to have in your home's parents going to have to go through.
I
So
told
if
Darren
you
and
can
I
make
talked about this about making judges do it and attorneys do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
yeah,
they
I
should
think
be the ones submitting.
if you're going to be out there diagnosing people on the spot like these caseworkers do, like they'll give you a diagnosis and you'll have to go take something and to prove that you're not that, you know.
Yeah.
And then if you refuse, they immediately give you that diagnosis like you failed that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like they're not even doctors.
And it's
But
technically not your burden to prove them otherwise. It's their burden to actually claim for what they claim.
But if they quit taking the people's kids that didn't need to be taken, they wouldn't need 500 new foster parents. Okay? And they would actually be able to relieve 500 of them. So
And
if
that's where my concern was.
So if they made them all go through parenting classes, anger management, some come back with recommendations, then get rid of them motherfuckers. Only keep the good ones and get rid of all them junk ass foster parents that are liable to treat your kids like shit. And then only the children that are actually being abused or neglected in such a way that it becomes a problem. Because I don't believe that, like, if your electric gets shut off for a couple days or whatnot, I don't believe that to be neglect.
No, that's not neglect. That's poverty.
Yeah, that's and if they come after your children for that, I think that's the most heinous thing in the world because that's a struggling family, and all you're doing now is making them struggle more.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're supposed to be a country that helps each other, lifts each other up. We're supposed to help thy neighbor. We're not supposed to be in competition with every neighbor down the block while they're all calling CPS on you because your kid's outside playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's.
I tell them all mind their own damn business, and if they had kids of their own, maybe they might know something. And a lot of these CPS workers don't even have kids. That's what's even scarier. So these are people who don't even have children of their own. They don't even know what it's like to actually have a child.
Oh,
And
it get worse.
essentially,
They're not properly trained either.
no.
You got guardian ad litems and public defenders and prosecuting attorneys the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how are you gonna judge me in any kind of way or try to prosecute me in any kind of way for something you don't even know how to do
Yeah,
yourself?
you have no area of expertise in whatsoever.
Look up employment turnover rate in CPS in Ohio.
You know what? And even the requirements for being a caseworker, being a CPS worker, it does not even mandate. You literally have to take like 2 years of child development classes or be be aware of somehow watching children. It has something to do with watching children, but not having children of your own. Like
And a
that
lot
should
of
be a
CPS
requirement.
workers just stick around long enough to complete that class and then they quit their job.
Uh-huh.
Well, let me tell you, like as much corruption as I see in the CPS out there, you know, every CPS agency has this, you know, every single CPS agency out there has the same problems. So if you got a caseworker that comes to your door that says, I've been doing this for 20 years, that tells you what type of person that is.
You've been stealing kids for 20 years.
She's been kidnapping and destroying families for 20 years and doing
fully aware of it. Knows exactly what she's doing.
Now, if you got a caseworker that's brand new, some of them brand new caseworkers go in there, think they're doing the best thing they can to help these children. And I give them that. Some of these newer caseworkers, they don't have a clue the corruption they're entering in the field.
Nope, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But
and once they know it, once they find it, then they decide. Then they have to decide where they stand.
But if they
stick around, they don't know what to do about it.
Right, exactly. That's exactly right. But the ones that stick around for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years, the longer you stick around, the more of a piece of shit you are because you should already know what you're doing to these families. And you're making your living and your profit and your pool
off everybody else's pain and anger. Yep,
you're
pain and hurt.
Off of somebody else's necks and their children being taken. And, you know, you're taking off of one child's plate to put on your child's plate. That makes you a piece of shit. I don't care who you are.
Well, to answer the question I asked earlier, the employment turnover rate for CPS in Ohio, depending on what county you're in, is between 20 to 40%.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. That's more than a McDonald's turnover rate.
Right, and most of them quit within 2 years.
Yeah, because they see the corruption and they're like, you know what? I don't want to do this to people.
Yeah, they fulfill their training contracts because they're contracted to that training,
Mm-hmm.
and it costs the state $56,000 per each employee they have to hire and train.
Right.
And we're losing like 3 a day on average, so that's 1,000 employees a year.
Right. That's a lot.
So Darren's computer took a poo poo. It crashed. The cat ran across the keyboard. So he's like, I need you to take over in the show whenever. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, so that's why he disappeared.
That's
Um,
well, we can
Sarah, come
stay
back.
on as long as you like. I mean, I ain't got no bedtime. My mommy's not here, so
I mean, but the whole thing is just corrupt. It's just crooked. I mean, essentially, I'm not. I mean, it all leads back. It's all intertwined with each other. It all leads back to essentially these attorneys and everybody is just overstepping their boundaries, and everybody is literally like I told Justin what's his last name, Justin,
Nicely.
yeah, nicely. Like I told him, I said, I have all those agreements, like all these, and I mean, when I say these are agreements, this is agreement. You can probably go to your county commissioner's office, because this is how I found mine for my county. It's on my county commissioner's website. It's called an MOU. It's called a Memorandum of Understanding of Child Abuse. Okay. I have it. I have the whole 100 and some pages of it. And it literally is their policy, how they do it, how they have the police come out, when they do it, when they call them, and all of these people's signatures on it. And I'm like, oh my holy Lord, you cannot be serious right now. I'm like, this is crazy. That's how I ended up getting, because like I started all this, obviously, after I became aware of what CPS does and how they do it. And I'm like, oh, well, I must start looking. So I started looking and I started digging and I started researching. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's how they do it. I'm like, so when I had the police show up here at my house one night, um, and I told them, I said, they told me, they're like, well, we're going to have to make a report to Children's Services. I said, I'm going to tell you right now. I said, I know you have an MOU. And I said, and I suggest you don't. And I didn't hear from him. I'd never heard from him. Not one
right.
word. I was like, I suggest you don't, because you know damn good and well that agreement that y'all have is violating people's rights. And I'm not going to stand for it. No, you cannot do that to people. Like, why would you even attempt to send CPS to the house because there was a call made? And especially when you aren't even the one that called the cops. That's what blows my mind. It's like, I didn't give you jurisdiction over me. Somebody
Right.
else called you and put jurisdiction, they gave you jurisdiction. Okay, you don't have jurisdiction until you are here at my house because I called you here. I didn't
Right.
call you here.
And there should be a cop to quote unquote investigate a crime. And if there's no crime, CPS needs to go away.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
so why? I mean, like, I just tell him, like, I know your guys's procedure. I know what it is. And I
Well, the
told him,
thing
I
is, though,
suggest you don't do it.
you know what CPS likes to do? They like to say, well, the cops are, they got too much on their plate to investigate it, but we're still going to investigate it through our department. Blah blah
Here's the
blah
funny
blah.
thing.
You
When
know what?
CPS shows up and the cops are here. Yeah.
If the cops are if the cops aren't going to pursue it, then the CPS agency should not be able to neither.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because if the cops had probable cause and they showed up with CPS, the cops would be leading the investigation, not the
Mhm.
CPS.
Right.
Yep.
They
But
show up
most
at
times
your
the
house.
cops are there for quote unquote keeping the peace.
If they
I don't
show up
care.
at
They
your
don't keep no
house,
peace.
if they show up at your house or your kids at school with guns and cops to take your children, that is a freaking kidnapping. That's all
Hmm.
there is to it. They should not be able to use the weapons of law enforcement to enforce a civil matter, which is
Hmm.
what that is. Once they get that ex parte from the judge, that's like your ex-wife just got custody of your kids. Your
Yep.
ex-wife can't go to your kids at school with the sheriff and have the sheriff assist you getting your kids out of there with a gun, but
No.
CPS sure able to use that. that
And
type
if
of.
you call, like if somebody keeps your kids and you call the cops, and they're going to tell you when they come to your house, they usually tell you it's a civil matter. They can't do anything about it.
Right.
So how's that any different? I mean, realistically,
Discretion
it's not.
and ignorance and discretion.
Right.
Ignorance is bliss.
Must be nice.
I tell you what, they all done lost their minds, especially CPS. Them people and the police. Their police powers are horrible, and they overstretch way too far. That's for
Right.
sure.
See, Dedre Payne, I don't know if they just came in here or not,
Deidre.
but he said, how about the simple fact that you can lose your parental rights but never get charged criminally of child abuse? See, I was talking about that a few minutes ago. I don't think they should even be able to take your children from your home at all in the first place unless there's a simple fact that you're going to jail. If
Hmm.
you're not going to be there to take
And
care
even
of
if you
your
go to
child,
jail, if the other parent's there, then they should. You know what I
right?
mean?
But the other parents there, they shouldn't be able to take your child.
Mm-mm.
If you have a grandmother or an aunt or an uncle that lives in your home that's old enough that's
Is legally
cognizant
responsible.
enough,
Can be legally responsible for your child. Yes.
right? So I mean, I honestly believe that there should never have been a child removed from a home unless every member of that household over the age of 21 years old is being placed in handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was telling my caseworker on my son's last investigation. It's like, well, if they need to take him, he's more than welcome here. Have everything he needs. They could come do a home not investigation, but a home visit. Anything they need.
And
Mm-hmm.
people
But
right
it ain't
here,
not just
like
closing the case and quitting his job.
Debbie Anderson right here says the school is the one problem, is a
Yeah,
problem.
they are.
Absolutely. However, we as the people can make a change there because that school system, just like the council meetings, you could go to a school board meeting, and we as a people need to start going to these school board meetings and standing up as the parents saying that we're in charge of what's best for our children and that they will not release our children to anybody. See, if we all the people started standing up, even in the court systems, and saying that they need to stay, our children right now, my children are afraid to go back to school every day. That is not
I'm
fair.
afraid to send them to school every day.
It is not fair to them
Valid.
because they were taken from their school. Now they
Mm-hmm.
fear every day: am I going to get to go home, or is somebody going to come make me get in their car today?
Yep.
That's a fear that these children shouldn't have to live with every day, going back and forth to school. So when they take a child from a school, that ruins their educational outlook because that child don't even want to go to school because they're in fear that they're going to get ripped from everything they've ever known or loved.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yep.
I honestly believe the school should stay the hell out of it. The school should be like, that's a civil matter between you, the courts, and that family. And
Yep.
that's how it should stay. The school, I
But
can't
here's the
remember.
even bigger kicker is that now they have these SRO officers who are at the school 24/7. And now essentially they're all getting reported to them. And then the police, then here comes the police rolling in the schools. Like, what are you doing? What are you talking?
I
I
hear,
tell them all the time, they know not to even attempt to question my children without me being present. They know better
I
because
have,
I will be on them like white on rice. I don't care. The IEP team, because like my two of my kids have IEPs. Well, they've essentially like kicked my oldest out of school. Okay. And like, even though it was a manifestation, they determined that it was a manifestation of his disability. The reason why he kept getting suspended, they still placed him on an online placement. Okay. He has ADHD. He's got a comprehension disorder and he's got conduct disorder and a few other things. So his attention span is like null and void. Okay. So technically, by their law, by our Ohio law, they are the ones that are supposed to change their approach, not remove the school, not remove the student from the school. And they essentially have removed him from the school. They're like, oh, but then now that he's missed so much school, because now they're saying he's truant. Do you know why he's truant? Because you guys took him out of school, and he can't do just sit down for 10, 15, 20, well, 2 hours and do his schoolwork. You know why? Because he doesn't have the attention span for it. Okay. So you're not helping him by displacing him out of school. You just created even more harm to him. And the school officials, and I tell you what, I have sent the school board, the superintendent. I have, and these people, these people in the school district do not like me. I essentially have told them, or I told them that the school psychologist essentially was, I wouldn't let her diagnose my dog. Okay. I wouldn't.
Right.
And I told him that because no, there's no, like this woman is sitting in a meeting and she is seeing my child literally just have like go into complete, like he was completely turned off. And instead of saying, okay, yeah, we should stop and maybe see what's actually going on and evaluate him. No, she decided that she was going to agree with the principal and say that he needs to be held accountable, and then tells me that life isn't going to accommodate him when he's an adult. That's a school psychologist. You want to do an evaluation on my child? Oh, oh no, oh no, 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 no. You're very, very wrong, because that's not happening.
You're already making assumptions of my child's future before you even do an assessment.
Right.
That's what they do in these even adult psychology. You go do a psychological evaluation as a parent for CPS. You better best believe CPS wants to know who you're going to go do that through, so they can call and talk all kind of shit about you and get that guy's perspective of you all the way on the other side of the fence of who you really are before you go take that psych eval.
Mm-hmm.
And every one of them are what do they call that? It's almost like tampering with a witness in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's malpractice on the part of the psychologist, because how are you going to get an accurate assessment of me if you've already got a file
Unbiased.
Yeah, because you have to be unbiased. It literally is like I told them I wanted them to pay for an evaluation at the school's expense, right, at public expense. They fought me on it, and I got it. But I told them and they gave me a list of like all these providers I could go to, and I was like, no, um, I'm not going to send my son to a provider of your choosing, because your provider essentially is biased. And a lot of things too that people don't understand is that you can actually determine what records go to the person who's going to do the
Yes,
evaluation.
the only thing you don't, you could be like, no, I don't want you to know anything about my child's
Right? Because
counseling,
I want you to be.
except if there are any recommendations. That's the only
Mm-hmm.
thing that they're entitled to. They don't
Yep.
have an entitlement to know if that child was in soccer or playing.
Yeah, but they wanted to send like all his discipline records, like all of his, and I'm like, no, I want you to make a unbiased judgment and fair evaluation on my child. I don't want you to, I'm not going to send him to one of your listed people on here, because essentially they're looking for certain things, and I know that you will disclose certain things.
A lot of those ones on their list too are partially paid by the state through the CPS's state funding.
Fact.
So like if you go through one of their psychologists, your medical insurance, or you might be paying that psychologist, but you better believe that CPS is paying that psychologist too. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how they get them to do what they want. Oh, we'll throw you a little extra bone if you throw this, this guy's delusional on his psychology report. You know what I'm saying? They try to say I'm delusional because I called him out on everything. I kept all the records. And,
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the reason why I got him a lawsuit. I'm going to sue that psychologist before this is all over for malpractice, for using their information before I ever even stepped foot in his office to evaluate me before I even got there.
And essentially, so what I started doing is because somebody, or I think it was Dave, asked, like, Family Court Fraud Warrior said, so who did I propose? I proposed somebody who was like 2 hours away and had no essential, affiliation with the school. They didn't even, this place was like 2 hours away from my house. Like, to take him to do a physical evaluation, like, and it was like a 6 hour day. So, we had to do like all the testing like within one day, but it still worked in the it's still working in the long run, realistically. But I proposed to use somebody who is not associated with them. There's a website that you can go to. Oh gosh, Henry talks about this website all the time. It's ADA. It's an ADA An
Somebody
ADA
mentioned
website.
it here in the comments a few minutes ago.
Yeah, ADA. It's an ADA website that you can go to, and it actually gives like if you sign up for services, like you get like a list of all these different ADA people who are for like IEPs, and it's literally for IEPs and like kids that have disabilities and stuff. And it's a really good website, but I actually got some resources and found some people on that website that I called, and that's how I found the one I did in Ohio. But I mean, essentially, you can do remote as well. There is people that do these evaluations remotely, so I mean, you could do it online. Um, Now, I don't think there's any for Ohio that do it online. Like the one that I did find was in New Jersey, I think it was, but they had done evaluations for people in Ohio. But I actually never heard back, and I still have to follow up with the pupils director because I sent her a second email because they never told me if I could get this done at their expense. They never gave me the confirmation if I could do it remotely or not. So I'm still waiting, and I still have to harass her some more to get me what I need.
You know, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure if if there are too many parents that can afford to do this. But if you go out and you pay for your own mental evaluation, you go out and pay for your own parenting classes and your own anger management, and don't tell them that you're tied to a state agency, and just tell them that you're doing it because you feel like you wanted to at least try to accomplish it. Blah blah blah. Get your certificates and hand them people your certificates, saying, "Look, I ain't got no recommendations. You know what I'm saying? I already took all your classes, your dumb classes. I didn't have to tell you where I was going, but here's my certificates and I'm done. And it
Hmm.
shows that I don't have any recommendation. And, they have to take it because, they're
Yeah, same thing
licensed.
with drug tests. Same thing with drug tests. They have
Absolutely.
to accept it. Yep,
And,
that's
and
what I did.
speaking of drug tests, my wife, every time she took a drug test, she kept failing for marijuana. I ain't gonna lie, I smoked my weed. They kissed my ass to live in Ohio. It's legal here. But, you know, but anyway, the whole point of the matter is my wife couldn't. She was on, under a judge's thumb because she was facing a domestic for a minute there because I got an unruly teenager. But anyway, the
Cool.
whole
Me too.
point of yeah, of course, don't we all? But anyway, but anyway, they were drug testing her through CPS, trying to hem her up in
Nope.
the criminal court, saying that
Nope.
all of her tests were coming back positive when she
Nope.
wasn't smoking. So we started to get smart. A woman can go to a hospital and say that she burns when she pees. And you know what? They'll give you a toxicology report that
Or
says you
you can tell them that you got, or you can tell them you think you got date or you got drugged last night at a bar, and they'll
yeah,
give you,
they'll give
yep,
you a toxicology report, and if it don't come back that you
yep,
got, and that goes back way farther than their stupid ass mouth swabs go in that
yep.
CPS
And those
system.
mouse swabs, I'll tell you this right now, their mouse swabs are rigged. Okay, they
Yeah.
literally, I saw the actual cutoff levels. If you ever look, I'm fucking nosy. So
Oh,
I started digging, I started investigating, and I found that where they send them to. So they send them to California for one. They send these drug tests to California to get
or
their.
they also go to Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Yeah, and well, the ones that they were sending, well, I got on their website, and like their cutoff levels were 0.03 for like methamphetamine. If you failed for methamphetamine, you would fail if it was over 0.03. Do you know how much 0.03 nanograms is?
That's barely anything, and the Ohio cutoff of the state law is point zero 0.05, or I'm
Okay,
sorry, point 0.5, I believe. I think it's point
uh-huh.
0.5
And this
actually.
is 0.03, okay?
Right.
0.03. That is 3 drops of water in an Olympic swimming pool. So if you have any like you couldn't even you couldn't even do anything. Like you literally just better be breathing the air you're breathing and that is it. And don't be around anybody. Like it is freaking horrible. And I'm like, okay, I'm like so that's how they're doing it. They are essentially falsifying these cutoff levels are outrageous and I couldn't even believe it. I was so flabbergasted and so pissed off by the time I was done with my case. I was like, kick rocks. And then when I had another case in February 2024, when they came and just took my kids, I asked her because she's like, well, we want a hair follicle from both the mom and dad, and I'm like,
Say, don't
there was
drink the
no
tap
drugs.
water.
I'm like, there was no allegations of me even using drugs. So why would I submit to a hair follicle? And I asked the judge, I said, can I object? He's like, yeah, you can object. So I objected, and I literally left the courthouse. And my husband just said he did one, he passed it.
I need to get me a little kid fishing pole.
I'm
Uh huh.
watching.
he did it, and I went to the hospital. I said, "Here you go. Here's my results." They came in, checked the house. Kids were back next week. They had dropped it.
As a plumber, you should research how much drugs are in our tap water.
Oh,
Not just the
100%.
fluoride, but like just general drugs. Like these treatment centers are not really set up to filter out drugs out of our tap
No,
water.
neither are the morgues.
You know, they say that there are fucking whales and sharks in the ocean pulling out testing positive for cocaine.
Neither are the
Yeah,
morgues. The morgues, literally, freaking all that
I
blood,
mean, if it's like that in the ocean, imagine what it's like everywhere else in all the fresh
goes in
water.
the water, our drinking water
yeah.
from the morgue. And people don't even realize that. People don't even fathom to think that. And I'm like,
So when
yeah,
they set it to like 0.03, like that's a little too
yeah,
restrictive.
yeah, right. I mean, that's like
Well, it's designed to prove. It's designed to show that the judge that you're failing your drug test, so it makes you look bad in court. That's
yep.
all it is. You know, they need to bring that back up to whatever the state level is, and then they need to take it with a grain of salt. Because if you've ever taken one of them mouth swabs, I could easily open your little packaging. I could easily peel that little sticker off the top of that tube, pop that top off there, and swip your swab with somebody else's, or or dump half that fluid in the other one and mix them up and make it to where now you're testing for whatever this other person was testing for. You know what I'm saying? You can literally manipulate that. Pop that cap back on, put that sticker back over it that they give you, and put it in a whole new bag and send it off to get. And then on top of that, it gets tampered with again because
Mm-hmm.
you know it goes through the shipping people's hands. It goes through every. How many hands does that go
No
through
chain of
before it winds
custody.
up at the goddamn lab?
There's no chain of custody. There's no confirmation on chain of custody.
Well, I'm talking about for that drug test. I mean, that drug test, it's moving through, you know, several different hands before it's actually even tested.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
what kind of validity can they really go off of with that?
Mm-hmm. They don't have any. Realistically, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a screen, so it's not a test. It's a screen, and a screen has to be done and confirmed in order for it to even be admissible in court.
Have you ever got a bad sinus infection and you got to take one of the things, hock one of them things up and shove it right in that motherfucking swab?
Mm-hmm.
You give them something good to test. You know what I
I'm
mean?
like, they're all just. I think they're all crazy.
You know.
They treat domestic violence.
They quit drug testing me after a while because every time I went in there, I'd sit in there with my tape recorder. I'd go in there with my.
What's up?
I want her to hear this too. So.
Sorry, but
Oh,
sorry,
you're
my
right.
neighbor.
Every time I go in to drug test them, I go in there and set this on the table, recording their little bitch asses, and I'd want to have it's time for conversation. We can have a 15-minute fucking talk right here, and we're gonna sure enough have one. And you know what? After so many times of talking to them and then realizing I'm catching them in all kind of fucking lies because they can't remember all the lies they told you,
Mm-hmm.
but you
Right?
can't because you're recording them. So, you know, if everybody just record every little interaction you have with them people, you can literally make them look stupid, incompetent, and every fucking thing else under the sun. And a lot of times, you know, you could stop the drug tests altogether if you put them through that kind of hell at the drug test. They're not going to want to see you every other
Well,
day.
we're only one party state too, so you don't even have to tell them you're recording.
Oh, I like to tell them.
And I literally bought a voice recorder so I could. And if I don't have my voice recorder, I just use my voice memos on my phone. I mean,
Here's another one for you, and I know we're live, so I'm going to go ahead and share this. There's an app called Cube ACR.
I have that on my phone. Yeah.
And I pay for the subscription on it for the entire
For the year. Yeah.
$25 for a whole year. And they record anybody's phone calls your phone that you want it to. You can filter out the ones you don't want it to record, so it's not your phone full of all these unnecessary phone calls. Record your caseworker. Record your guardian ad litems. Record your public defender. Anybody that has anything to do with your case, record them because they're all fucking lying to you.
Well, I don't just record. See, me, myself, and I have actually gotten to the point where I stopped even talking to anybody on the phone. We only talk through emails. Like, we don't correspond on the phone. I hardly ever answer the phone, especially when I know it's somebody of that nature.
The good thing about a conversation on the phone is you catch them motherfuckers slipping up because they're in their emotions in the actual conversation. When you're
Mhm.
typing out an email, I could type you out something and be like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't word it like that. No.
Right.
Okay, that's better. Yeah, I'm gonna say
But
it
then
like that.
even, but then
So
there's
they
the,
could
but then
save
there's
their
times
ass.
also.
They could save their ass in the email, and they can go back and look at the email to see what they had said to you. But if you're recording an actual voice conversation, they
Mhm.
can't remember every lie they've told you. I got them recorded telling my kids that their behavior is why they can't come home.
Oh,
They're
oh,
they're in big trouble when I finally get my shit out on the table. And
I
I'm
had
waiting.
somebody.
I'm waiting because I got things in the appeals court, and I want to see what them three judges do.
Uh huh.
If they make the wrong decision, it's just going to strengthen my case.
I essentially have the recording, the clerk on recording saying that she doesn't know the Ohio Revised Code
Oh
Right.
shit.
for submitting documents and for
That's her
essentially.
job.
That's what I said. I said, "Isn't that your job?" Like, wait a minute here. You don't know the Ohio Revised Code because I literally quoted it, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know the Ohio Revised Code." What? What? What?
Huh.
You don't know the Ohio Revised Code? I was so lost. I was like, is she serious with me or is she fucking with me right now? No, she was serious.
Right.
And I'm like, that's scary. I also had a one of the girls, one of the clerks, I
Yeah,
called
that's a
one
good
day.
point. That's my wife up there in the comment section. She said, even if it is a two-party consent state, this is
I just
genius,
got
okay? This is freaking genius. Get you a friend. Get you somebody. Get you a family member, your mom, your brother,
Can I
your
get a
sister.
witness?
Get somebody else involved in your conversation with that person also, and then you can record because now you have two-party consent. That third party doesn't matter. As long as two people in that conversation consent to the conversation and are part of that conversation, then that's legal.
I mean, I don't care because, like I said, we're a one party state, so that doesn't really matter for me. But
Yeah, but
I
it
don't talk to
matters
nobody out
to
of
a lot
state.
of people. We want this to go out to all states and information we can get to any parent to help their child come.
Yeah.
It's in a
I mean,
two-part.
essentially, I mean, if you're already in a safety, if you're already in it in court, realistically, I mean, if you're actively in it, I would say, and I would 100% say, stick it out, do it till you're done, and get it. I know Gunner's big about, oh, you're gonna be complicit with criminals. You know what? The only thing I care about is getting my kids back. I don't give a damn about being complicit with criminals in that moment. I want my kids back. And when I have them back, then I will deal with these people who are these perpetrators who have committed crimes against me. But until then, no. I will do whatever I have to do. And that's the fact of being a parent, realistically. I guess as a mother. Because, being dads, it's a little different. Dads don't necessarily always see the same way moms do. So, with me, I'm a mom. So those are my kids. They came from me. I birthed them. I've raised them. I've done everything. I am going to do everything
Right,
to get them back.
right.
Like,
Didre Payne, you are wrong. You do not have to have that person's permission, and you do not have to tell them you're recording, especially here in Ohio. In
Just
Ohio,
your friend.
you could hide a recording device under your shirt. You can hide
mm-hmm,
a recording device in your pocket, and you can record anything you want as long as you're, not inside their home or
mm-hmm,
inside, like you can record inside a private meeting in
mm-hmm.
Ohio.
I
You just can't
record
go to
inside the
somebody's
school.
private. You
Everybody.
just you just can't go to somebody's private residence and pull your video camera out and start recording in their house.
Yeah.
Okay, there are privacy laws that prevent that. However, if you're out there at like the agency and they pull you into the back room and they want to have a meeting, by golly, record that, especially if you're in Ohio. And
Mm-hmm,
if you and your wife are fighting them and both of you are in that meeting, then or your husband or whatever, if you're both in that meeting in a two-party consent state, then both of you and your spouse are both in agreement to the recording, and you're both part of the conversation. That makes you
mm-hmm.
legal to record them without them having to know you're even recording them.
Everybody needs to learn also that, how they word things is essentially you want to play their game. Like somebody said earlier, something about playing, they're playing chess and she was playing checkers. You know, I don't play checkers. I play chess. Okay, so me, myself, and I that's not even negotiable. Okay, I if you essentially, I'm gonna know your policy, and I mean, I'm gonna research and I'm gonna find your policy, your procedure, anything that you have that you are going to essentially try to use against me. I'm going to use it first. Okay, they're not gonna. They cannot by law continue to do the things that they're doing. And I got to looking earlier, so a municipality, because I wanted to look up like what is the difference like between the Ohio Constitution and the actual federal Constitution? Like, is there any discrepancies? Is there anything, that's like doesn't essentially fall within what is considered, unconstitutional as far as like that. Like, and then I got to, because I was looking at the Troy ordinances, and because their ordinance was, when I was looking into it about that whole riding the scooter thing on the road, and I was like, man, I was like, what is these ordinances about? So I got to looking, and I was like, okay, I was like, so what is this? And it says something about you can't carry a firearm in the park, and it was just crazy. And I was like, and it says that can be unconstitutional, like they were restricting freedom of speech. Like, I was like, okay, so why? Like, how? Why do they do this? Why would they essentially keep doing this? And I mean, it's the police powers. The police, it's left to the state to essentially do anything with family, morals, custody, anything, and which federal court won't touch. And that's sad, because like even habeas, federal court won't touch that either. I mean, you can try. I do have associations with a civil rights attorney, and I was telling her about how they threw my habeas out, and she's like, it's because they've never heard it. It's because they've never heard it. Because he's never heard it, and your theory is why he threw it out. And she's been an attorney for 50 years. She's like, they don't know. She's like, they're not trying to apply that in regards to that. Tape. For what? Tape for the vacuum? Why would you need tape for the vacuum? Oh. Oh, yeah, she did. I forgot. Okay. No, I have to cut that. Because it's broken. I think he thinks tape for the vacuum is going to essentially keep the tube from, the tube decided it was going to rip. So now I have to cut it. And he's like, can I have tape? That's not going to fix it. Duct tape doesn't fix, it fixes almost everything, but not quite. But not quite. All right. They don't have to follow their own. Well, no, they don't. BetterHelp is a scam. CPS worker wrote from a combative to deprive in 10 years. Deidre's in California. I think that's okay. Yeah, well, California, Deidre, essentially, she's in California, which she's where that federal litigator, or that civil rights attorney that I was just talking about, that's where she lived. Well, she lived, and that's where she practiced, was in California. And she essentially, she's the only one that I know of that literally has taken CPS to court and won $7 million for a child that was wrongfully placed in CPS care. Can we use your vacuum? Please. No, not using my vacuum. No, it's my vacuum. Because you guys like to suck up stuff that doesn't go in the vacuum. It needs to take that off the vacuum. Everything that's big. No. No. You're not breaking my vacuum. Which vacuum? The purple vacuum. Yeah.
So what was the
Yeah.
violation, and how was she able to prove it in her lawsuit?
So she ended up getting I guess the girl claimed that it was like civil rights, it was a civil rights violation because they had actually placed her in care. And they essentially found that the child was placed in care, and CPS is the ones that actually committed the crime, I mean, essentially against her, because they were the ones that placed her there, and she shouldn't have been there in the first place. So CPS, she sued CPS, and she won $7 million. Like, because they were the ones that placed her there, and they were the ones that caused the harm.
Right.
And she's now, and this was after the child became an adult. because essentially she couldn't do anything until she became an adult. So once she became an adult, then they were like, oh, well, we're going to sue. And this woman has literally been on. She's been on Dr. Phil. She's been, she's been on 60 Minutes. I mean, she right now is she's like 80 some years old, and she's still fighting the good fight. And essentially she's, she's devising a plan. Don't think she's not, because she is. And she's gonna take them down. And I'm laughing. I'm gonna watch them all do the perp walk.
Right.
That's gonna be great. She's ready for it. I know that, and I know everybody else is ready for it. She plans on doing some big things and bringing home, hundreds of thousands of kids that have been wrongfully taken from their parents. I mean, she's gonna blow the top off of it. I'm waiting for it. I can't wait for it. That's for sure. I've just been collecting data and information and just been doing what I need to do for her and keeping her, going, because essentially she knows how to do it. She's got the tools to do it. So just let her have at it.
Right.
That's something else I strongly recommend. Have your kids start filing charges when they turn 18.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because essentially, I mean, yeah, they're the ones that have been wronged. I mean, you can't do it for them, but I mean, yeah, you can do one while after you get them back or whatever. But I mean, then I think parents don't do it because then they feel like they're chancing getting their kids taken away again. The retaliation, I guess I should say.
Yeah, but if your kids are now 18,
Oh, I had a girl that literally lives in Xenia. I think she lives in Xenia, and she was saying that how her child actually, but so here's the even bigger kicker: her child and her kids are now adults. Well, her kids have tried or said something about they were going to file a lawsuit. Now she has issues with her grandchild, and now they won't even let her have a grandchild. Retaliation for that. It's
well,
crazy. It's crazy. It's like, really?
they're just going to double down again, huh?
Yeah. Now they're just gonna effectively just use it against her. I mean, and now that she's a grandparent, not even that she's a parent, now that she's a grandparent, they've essentially said, no, you can't do this, or no, you can't have the kids because you've had a case before. What? 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
Right.
Sharks for pink cocaine. Who says something about pink cocaine? Yeah, and that's what I said. Let's drug test the judges, see if they pass or fail, and they will lose their children. Yeah, see, and Darren and I had talked about that too themselves. Like, yeah, they should be drug tested. They should be, put to all these standards that they hold us to as parents. Why shouldn't they? I mean, essentially, I don't want somebody who's they don't want people. They don't want parents who are drug addicts raising kids. Well, I don't want somebody who's a drug addict telling me that I can or cannot raise my kid.
Right.
Like, hello? Well, I mean, who wants that? I don't want it. Nobody does. And essentially we don't know. We really don't know, because they don't disclose that. And they don't have to, because they're immune. They don't have to do this. Bullshit.
Right.
Ooh. Let's see. That's what Darren did. Sign right here. No, 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 no. What's this? Osiris. No, no, no.
Now you got me wondering how I can, for what legal mechanism we can use to force a drug test. And it'd probably be a lot easier in criminal court, depending on what the charge is.
But anyway, I mean, even the stipulations and like the issues with the stipulations and the judges and the attorneys and stuff. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would, if that was me, I would honestly go file a motion to vacate the stipulation due to ineffective assistance of counsel, because they're not doing their job.
Right.
And a lot of things, and you know what? And I literally have posted on Facebook, and I'm like, you know what? If this is not how this is going to be done, prove me wrong. 350,000 people have seen these posts, okay, mind you. And not one of them has proven that I'm wrong. Not one. because you can't, there, it made perfect logical sense when I read that definition. It made perfect logical sense. Stipulation to adjudication.
Right.
And there is a newscast out of Chicago that literally is from one of the senators, I believe it is, or one of the representatives out of Illinois. That literally these two different families, one lived in Wisconsin, one lived in Illinois. They had stipulated 6 years prior. The one that actually lived in Illinois stipulated 6 years prior, and they came to the hospital the day she had her baby and took her newborn baby from her arms. Okay. The representative is, and I actually talked to these people on Facebook, and like the representative literally got on the newscast and was like, people don't realize what they're doing. This isn't a simple traffic ticket. This isn't, something that's that simple. It's that easy. He says, these decisions that they are making are doing more damage than they even realize. And parents don't realize it.
Right.
But I mean, if you go file for ineffective assistance of counsel and they start seeing this, pattern of all these people claiming for ineffective assistance counsel because you weren't advised of your rights, and you essentially, that your attorney stipulated for you and did a waiver for you. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a big no-no. That is a big
Yeah.
no-no.
All right, I fixed it.
Can
And
you give a quick summary of what a stipulation adjudication is?
stipulation to adjudication. So a stipulation to adjudication is an oral agreement that is made on your behalf that you essentially have, that you agree to the allegations that CPS has made against you and that they are true.
How do I switch
They do that in a plea bargain in criminal court, don't they?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It's the same. It's the same thing, just for civil.
Okay.
So it's the same thing. And essentially, parents don't realize that that's what's happening. Like when your attorney goes and your attorney talks to the CPS attorney, and then they come back and they tell you that this is what's going to happen. They just did that stipulation, because a stipulation doesn't have to be on paper. It can be oral.
Hmm.
So if
Yeah.
it's an oral agreement, they're orally agreeing with each other. Then they're coming in, not advising their client of their rights to a trial, of their right to challenge their evidence or provide other evidence to the contrary.
it's backwards?
Um, they're not doing their job.
Yeah, there's been a couple
Right.
times I did a plea bargain with the prosecutor just on traffic ticket, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'll get in front of the magistrate, and the agreement that the magistrate states is not what me and the prosecutor verbally agreed to. So,
Hmm.
like, I'll get a continuance to redo that agreement and then
Yeah.
get it in writing.
Yeah, because if you don't, I mean, and essentially you say, okay, like that's what they think, but no. Yeah, that's the exact
Because
same
they'll
thing they're doing
ask
in
you,
civil
did
court.
you agree to this?
Hmm.
Knowingly and willingly and intelligently, because you're basically admitting guilt to get that plea bargain.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what
So
parents
you
are doing in
contest
civil
that,
court.
they have to file for continuance to redo the plea bargain. And they're going to make sure it's written down
Hmm.
properly.
On that that feller that we was just I just did that I just did that research on California for that Payne guy or whatever.
Okay. Yeah,
Pain.
good job.
They're an all party consent state.
Oh, that changes things. All party.
They're what we call the problem state.
Yeah,
Okay.
California. Yeah.
You
I am
know,
so sorry,
I
California.
hate to say that, brother, sister, I don't know, but pack up your shit and move to a
Move.
state that cares about you before that state falls off in the ocean anyway. We've all been over here on the East Coast. Over here on the East Coast, we've been waiting for the fireworks show.
All
That
party
state,
consent.
that state,
Damn.
and I don't mean to be like that as far as it actually literally falling in the ocean. We're just saying the state of California is falling apart. The politicians out there are trash, and they don't care about their people. And that's just one example of it right there, because you have a constitutional right to be able to be the press, to be able to go out and record anything you see in public. That's
Hmm.
a constitutional right. That isn't state policy. State policy is bullshit anyway. We shouldn't have to follow those laws. We should only have to follow the laws that are actually laws codified within our constitutional realm. We are free range chickens out here anymore. And we aren't even free range chickens when we got to pay for every little thing and every, you know,
Right. So much for
turn,
free range.
worry about every little corner you turn in life because, you know, technically the First Amendment should protect you for, you know, if you're in a public space, if them people come to your home and they step in your home, now you're in a private place. They're in your private residence. I don't know how it is in your state, but it should be that you can record them in your home in any state because that's your home. They brought themselves into that situation. Everybody
Mhm.
should take a good example from Afro Man. Afro Man,
Yes, I was just gonna
Yeah.
say.
good old Adams County, Ohio. You know, let's give him kind of a shout out for going in and showing them people how much of a fool you can make them look like. I mean, you know, and then they want to try to sue the man for using the footage that they put themselves. I mean,
Right.
you know,
You're a public official. When did you become not privy to being recorded?
from what I understand, our Constitution gives us the right to record and document our government officials and their duties,
Hmm.
not
You
some
think,
state
especially in
fucking
your own home.
right, not some state law that you know should somehow supersede the Constitution, should somehow be more powerful than the Constitution.
Well, the Constitution only has limited powers. So the Constitution essentially is it delegates those powers to the states because the states are technically sovereign.
You know, if
So
you wanted to have your children at home, they might allow you to record your children being birthed. But I believe that inside a hospital room, there's a form of, you know, expectation of privacy and confidentiality that they have to uphold within them hospitals. Is why they don't allow you to actively. I don't know if you've seen this comment, this film,
Yeah, I saw that about hospitals can't
film
record
against
in
mhm.
that
hospital
PDCF.
court.
You know, there's a lot of reasons why you probably don't want to record your childbirth. You know, I understand. You know that I understand. I'm a father. I've had 4 children. I've watched them all be born, and you know, it's kind of a you know. It's kind of a sacred thing you don't really want to have to experience over and over. And you're definitely not trying to show that to people, I would hope.
Only certain
Deidre,
people. Like I
Deidre,
don't
I
I
would,
don't post my son's birth publicly, but I've shown like my mom and a couple others.
yeah, Deidre, I would love to do that, but Vincent Davis and I don't see eye to eye, so I would have to pass.
You know what though? I'll tell you, I don't know who she's talking about, but I'll give anybody a chance, and I'll go on anybody's platform and give you, you know, good insights or whatever. Just you know, just simple knowledge. I mean, that's all we're trying to pass, and it's free. We don't ask anybody for no money, you know. But I'll sit here and research things, just like you know, in your state, you're an all-party consent state. How bullshit is that?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I didn't even know there was such a thing as all party. I learned something
Either I
too.
just researched it. I spent a few minutes, and I even tried to pop it on the screen so everybody could see it. But for some reason, my screen share is mirrored, and I'm not trying to do that to everybody tonight. So you know, I just you know, but yeah, a one party consent state is definitely a state that is looking out for your constitutional rights at least a little bit. An all party consent state, they don't care what you what you
California is crazy.
they don't care about what you got going on in your life. You can't record it even if it's heinous or whatever. That's bullshit. You know, but I do believe that even in your state, out in public, you have the right to record anything that isn't inside a four-wall enclosure where you have expectation of privacy. If there is no expectation of privacy, I don't believe I don't believe they can uphold that law because you know you got kids at swim parks, people are videotaping their kids playing baseball games, you know, soccer games, things like that. Nobody goes out and says anything about their parents taking their kids to the park, take a picture of the kids playing, things like that. So I honestly believe no matter what state you're in, if you're outside, you can record. So
Well, Jay,
if
was there any exceptions to that California law? Usually that's a state
I was
specific
looking for
exception.
it, and I was looking for it. And didn't mention a whole lot about the you know
Exceptions?
the exceptions. I believe that's only in like a personal setting. That's only like if you go to a meeting with these caseworkers and you think you're going to go in there and record them, you probably still can do that in your state. You're just not going to be able to use it for anything other than like your own personal documentation for you
Like
to be
notes,
able
like
to.
taking notes in court.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to be able to present that to a judge and use it. You're not going to be able to air that on Facebook. It could probably get you a charge in your state, something like that, But as far as for your
Which
own
I know
personal
that you
use,
guys had I know you guys had a show with Darren about a month ago or so, or maybe it's a couple months ago. And like the one guy said that he got arrested for for freedom of speech and stuff. But I do have to
Don
enlighten
Leonard.
everybody. Huh?
Was it Don Leonard?
no,
Uh
we were on. It was Justin, I believe she's talking about when he was in there trying to get records requests, and he was in there 4 or 5 times. He said it in his lyrics here, you know.
um no, it was I don't well it might yeah, because it's the three J's, I think it
It
was.
said the fourth attempt to obtain the footage, they arrested me. And I
So
believe that's what it was. He was there trying to get records requests. That
well
they said,
no, the one guy got arrested for putting his the information on Facebook or something like
okay,
that.
that would have been Josh Brown. He
Okay,
was
yeah. He got
he
arrested for it. Well,
well
that is
they called it a you're right. They called that a menacing charge, aggravated menacing or something on the caseworkers, because the caseworkers asked him earlier in that day, what would you do if somebody punched you in your mouth? What would your reaction be? And he looked at her and said, I don't want to tell you what my reaction would be, because no matter what I say, you're going to use it against me.
mhm.
Well, later on that night, he got, in his feelings or whatnot, may have, been putting a couple back. I don't know. But, he put a post on Facebook that said he was asked a question today. And to answer that question, I would probably beat your fucking face in and curb stomp you or some. But he didn't make a threat
That's
to the
self-defense.
caseworker. He didn't make
Yeah.
a threat. He basically
It was a
explained a
hypothetical
hypothetical.
question.
He explained what would you do in a hypothetical if this is, well, they said they took that as a direct threat and arrested that man, and he spent almost 3 months in jail over it.
Well, I know that there was something about that they were getting records and that something about I remember him saying something about freedom of speech. Well, then Justin had ended up saying something about the fact of posting your caseworker or your case online or something like that. And technically, if it is actually illegal to like disperse any of that information online to anybody else other than yourself, because it is a confidential record, and it essentially it's under the Ohio Revised Code. I can't remember the code right now. It's
That
like,
would fall under gag orders, and I believe that if you're a party of the case, your name's on that case, and it has everything to do with you, then you have every right to post that on the internet. At least in our state, I've posted a lot about my case on the internet, and I have never got any backlash because well, a
well,
lot of it.
that's why they issue those gag orders, because people will put that stuff online, and then when the judge finds out about it, then that's when they'll put that gag order in, because they don't really necessarily, it's actually codified, but they don't necessarily enforce it as they probably should. But yeah, I was told by that civil rights attorney that it's actually illegal to do it, and then I got to looking and I looked at and there, sure shit enough, it was there.
Illegal to enforce the gag order.
No, it's illegal for you to it's illegal for you to disperse that what they consider confidential information with like the kids' names on it and all that like any CPS file, because it's considered state secrets as well.
Right. I hate
So
people calling
yeah.
me.
So it's like
Yeah, but don't you have the right to talk about your experience and what happened to you? But you got to leave out specific details.
Right.
Yeah, we're
yes
in a
and yeah.
gray area there.
Yeah, it's a gray area, but yeah, but essentially, I mean, yeah, it's I had no idea. I had no idea, and she told me that. She's like, yeah, it's illegal. I was like, what? I was like, are you
Right.
serious? She's like, yeah. She's like, look it up, and I did. I looked it up, and sure enough, it was in the Ohio Revised Code. I was like,
Well,
uh
there's
oh.
certain things you can't post, but you can talk. You can't like take and upload your files directly to the internet. I
Well,
wouldn't do
people do
that.
that.
Well, if that's what you're saying, then you're absolutely right. But if you're just talking about like your court hearing and whatnot, even if you're saying word for word certain things that were discussed in that court hearing, I really don't believe that they can use that against you because, you're not taking the actual transcript from the court hearing or the, or, anything like that, or you're, like here, I showed this earlier, but I didn't show it long enough for anybody to get information. I said people need to go pro se and people need to start learning how to file these,
Mm-hmm.
and you can, I don't know if you can see that or not, but
With
there's
those
definitely
transcripts.
a stamp on that. Now, when you file these, you wind up getting these, and these are what you call court transcripts. And when you
So
get,
now is that actually is what you just showed, because I can't see it, it's too damn small. But
That was
is
the
that
request for it
is that
in
is
the first
that
packet.
at the state's expense or
it's a
public's expense
receipt to
for?
a court order, okay, and then
Yeah, tell them how you got it for free.
let
Should
me
be to file a motion
I can
for
actually read the motion, but I can't read like the personals on it. So I'll tell you what I put on here. It was basically there was a notice of appeal, a proceed to court order, motion for preparation of transcripts at the
uh-huh.
state's expense,
Yeah.
and docketing statements, statements of assignments of error, and
Mm-hmm.
renewed motion for production of all discovery records and unredaction of all party names.
Mm-hmm.
And
I filed
basically,
one of those.
what all this says is basically I got the Epstein file for activity log in my case, and I want all that unredacted so I know what you put my children throughout their case.
Mm-hmm.
And then the transcripts here I wanted because I got the judge being complicit in here several times, talking about we're not relitigating your case when we're asking important questions from day one all the way till today. The same. I got other ones I'm getting too from when they were reuniting my kids back in August of last year, and they wanted to make up a fake sexual abuse allegation because my wife told on them for not using car seats for my 6 and my 7-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they took them, they were 5 and 6 years old, and they didn't use car seats then either. I got one should be in a 5-point safety harness, and they drive them 40 minutes to their agency because I live out in the middle of freaking nowhere, and then they drive them almost 2 hours to where Justin lives in his area in a place they call Newark in Zanesville area.
Mm-hmm.
That's over by my buddy Justin. That's a long ride for not
Mm-hmm.
having a child in a car seat. So you
Yeah, no
want to
doubt.
say you took the child from my home because you was afraid I'm going to put the child in danger,
But you're
and then
putting them in danger in the car,
you put them in more danger than I ever have in my life.
right?
I mean, I take my kids and we do things,
Mm-hmm.
and it pisses them off. It pissed them off greatly because I got photographs around my house and videos that I played for them of my 7 and 6-year-old child shooting and hitting targets the size of, bottle caps or quarters even at 25 yards. I teach my kids gun safety.
Mm-hmm.
And at every age, because you never know when or how something's going to arise.
Mm-hmm.
Your children need to know how to protect themselves just as much as you do.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're like, "Oh my
I wouldn't
God,
trust my kid with a gun.
you take
Nope.
your kids to go shoot guns," it's like that's actually one of the better things you can do because my children do not play with my guns. My children stay all the way away from them. Never once has any of my children ever tried to pick one of my guns up without us being out there to shoot. And they're asking, "Dad, can I shoot this one? Can I shoot that one?" And a lot of times they don't even ask. I got to beg them to go shoot with me. They get so used to it, they're bored with it now. So that's what you got to do. If you want to keep your kids from grabbing your gun and going out and playing with it, take them out shooting, get it out of them.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
All right, guys. Well, I think it's time for us to say a bit adieu, and
Yeah, absolutely. It's been 3 hours.
yeah,
So
we're good. I
you
think we've
guys have a
discussed the
good
night
night.
and discussed. I think we've discussed everything, and if we haven't, then well,
We
I
haven't
guess everybody
scratched,
share our luck.
even scratched the surface, but we
Oh
talked
yeah, there's more that we
Oh
could
yeah.
talk about.
Oh yeah. You could have an all-day newscast podcast for hours.
right. But
All right, guys.
all right. Well, you have a good night. And
You too.
yep.
claim. You shine the light on hidden mighty. The Canton Hall of Shame. Hey! Justin nicely leads the charge. A single father, strong and bold, calling out the overreach in stories yet untold. They march to City Hall, demanding truth and justice where the mighty often fall. From council meetings to the Sixth Circuit solemn door, they gather evidence and proof. They will not fight no more. They broadcast far and wide, exposing every dereliction, every tenant quiet. No warrant, no due process, no mercy in the raid. But these defenders never waver in the promise they have made. When police and agencies conspire to tear the kin apart, these guardians of the heart ignite the people's hearts. They walk the walk of courage, they name the names of wrong, turning silent suffering into a rallying song. For every child returned, for every family home, the Hall of Shame remains us. Protect the sacred roar. Walk hands in Hall of Shame. You stand against the storm, naming every wrong that's done, keeping families warm. Warriors of the righteous fight to the years of pain and claim. You shine the light on hidden might. The Canton Hall of Shame. So raise the banner high across Ohio's open plain. For those who fight for family rights will never fight in vain. From Canton to the nation, let the message ring the same. Honor to the steadfast souls of the Canton Hall of Shame. Don't tread on me when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. Wake up, America! In Canton, Ohio, the shadows grow deep. Stark County CPS stealing children in their sleep. No warrants, no justice, just raids in the night. Families torn asunder, but we stand and we fight. Justin nicely calls out the names of the shame. Canton Hall of Shame, igniting the flame. Don't tread on me, don't tread on me. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes stupid. Wake up, America! In Canton, Ohio, the shadows grow deep. Stark County CPS stealing children in their sleep. No warrants, no justice, just raids in the night. Families torn asunder, but we stand and we fight. Justin nicely calls out the names of the shame. Canton Hall of Shame, igniting the flame. Don't tread on me, don't tread on me. When tyranny becomes law, when tyranny, rebellion becomes duty, rebellion becomes duty. Whoa. Don't tread on me. In Canton, Ohio, in Canton, Ohio. Woo! In the heart of Ohio, in the heart of Ohio, in the heart of Ohio. Ooh. In the heart of Ohio, 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 in the heart of Ohio. in the heart